Okay, everybody hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. And Jimmy, you're going to be my timekeeper.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, can you hear my husband talking in the other room?
I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay, I will go ahead and shut my door then.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Hey, Nancy. Long time no speak.
I know, right?
I used to say long time no seen neighbor.
That's right.
Oh, let me shut the blinds behind me.
As you can see, Nancy, I'm communicating from the space station.
I know. It looks like that. I like that. All right.
Okay, who just showed up in their car?
I'm Lena. I have a basketball player at practice right now.
Okay.
Hi, Lena.
Hi.
Are you Lena Sacco?
I am, yes.
Okay, great. Good.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for showing up.
Absolutely.
So, Chris, Rocco, are you on the line?
Yes.
Let's see, wait, could you talk again so I can label you?
Yep, I'm here.
Hold on. Chris, what number are you calling on?
512-296-0081.
All right, gotcha.
Oh, there's Robert.
Hey there.
I think we're graced with a visit from Todd.
Yep. Could the caller on the number 300-8781 identify themselves?
Linda.
Linda Fobb?
That's right.
Okay. So you're on a phone and a different connection too, it looks like.
I am.
All right, thanks.
Can everybody try to mute their microphone, see if we can find out where this background noise is coming from?
It might be Lena because she's calling from her cell
My
phone.
car, yes, it could be the AC in my vehicle.
So there's probably some cars going past you?
No, not at the moment. I guess
Okay.
maybe the noise of the AC in my car.
Well, we're not sure it's you. We're just have a background noise.
Well, I think we had everybody muted and we were still hearing. Lena, do you know how to mute your microphone?
Yes, I do. Let's see here.
There you go. That did it. That took care of it. So Lena, if you want to talk, just unmute and then talk. And if you do what we always do, you'll forget to unmute and we'll remind you.
Okay. I have one other caller on a 608-692-3968 number. Could you identify yourself, please?
Yes, this is Megan Dudo.
All right. Thanks, Megan.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, Kat.
are we all here?
Well, Catherine, we got from the board, we have you, Art, Lewis, Jana,
And
and
Chris.
Chris. So the
Oh,
whole
we're all-
board's here.
Yeah, so we're all here. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we're going to start the public comment section of the meeting. Sarah Teal, did you want to make a public comment?
I do.
And did you have an agenda item that you wanted to speak to?
I do not. Just a public comment tonight.
Okay, and Linda Fobb, did you have a public comment?
I do.
And did you have an agenda item?
I do. Items 8, 9, and 12.
Okay. And Nancy, did you want to make a public comment?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And did you want to speak to a specific agenda item?
No, I don't believe it's on the agenda. No.
Okay. And how about you, Lena? Did you want to make a public comment?
Unmute your phone, Lena.
I do. Yes, ma'am.
And did you want to make a, did you want to speak to a specific agenda item?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And just confirm for me, Lena and Nancy, you're both with the Valente Hills HOA? Okay.
Nancy is.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay.
And Lena is here as kind of we're in support of each other on a specific topic that we just wanted to bring to the MUD board. Yes.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm asking is that we've got an agenda item specifically reserved for the HOA boards to make a presentation to the board. So would you like to just move to that agenda item?
Well, this is actually not related to Valente Hills. This is just more as a resident of the MUD, just something that we're wanting to do, kind of a positive thing as a memorial for someone. So that's really what we were discussing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. How about Todd? Todd, did you want to make a public comment?
No, thank you. I'm just here to observe, but thank you.
Okay. And you did not want to make a comment to a specific agenda item?
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. And Megan, did you want to make a public comment?
No, thanks, Catherine. Not tonight.
Okay. And did you want to speak to a specific agenda item?
No, thanks. Just listening.
Okay.
Catherine, we do have another person who's joined the meeting. Ms. Divvy has joined the meeting, so you may want to ask her the same questions.
Okay. So Ms. Divvy, did you want to make a public comment?
No, I just logged in to check out the meeting.
Okay, so did you want to speak to a specific agenda item?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we are going to go ahead and start the public comment section of our meeting, and we'll start with Sarah Teal, who has a 2-minute public comment.
More money will be funneled into new electronic meters tonight, a project that will be approaching the $1 million mark, and it appears to have not been bid, even though it is already well over threshold. Luis Servagon has stated in previous meetings that this project did not require bidding because it was, quote, a replacement program. I did some reading of the law recently, specifically the Local Government Code 252, which clarifies projects that do not have to be bid. It states that this chapter does not apply to an expenditure for a procurement of items that are available from only one source, including a captive replacement part or components for that equipment. In the publication, Texas Procurement Laws Made Easy, a captive replacement part is described in this way. For example, cities have used this exception to justify not taking bids for the purchase of parts for specialized heavy equipment, when only specialized parts manufactured by the vendor will properly fit such a piece of heavy equipment. It is exceedingly clear that the full new electronic meter and the brand new software to run it is not a part of an already existing asset, but instead a whole new purchase, and is certainly available from more than one source. When the purchase is rapidly approaching the $1 million mark and has not been bid, it is very concerning. The local government code also says that a municipal officer or employee commits an offense if the officer or employee intentionally or knowingly makes or authorizes separate, sequential, or component purchases to avoid the competitive bidding requirements. An offense under this section is a Class B misdemeanor. Now, each board member knows what the law says about captive replacement parts. so any votes going forward can be with full knowledge and accountability according to the law. I will be reporting what appears to be inappropriate bidding practices regarding the meter replacement program to the proper authorities. If any neighbor is worried about how their tax dollars are being spent, I urge them to use their powerful voting voice and unseat the incumbents, Jana Norton and Chris Rocco, on November 3rd. There will be new choices to lead this local government who are ethical, knowledgeable, and fiscally responsible. You can find more about the candidates and the laws referenced at the community forum for WTCMUD1.
Bill, would you please mute her? Thanks. Okay, Linda Fobb, you have a public comment.
I do. Let's get right to the facts. The bookkeeper's report tonight shows that this MUD board has spent over $272,000 in the past 9 months on legal expenses as follows. General legal, $107,379. Restrictive covenant legal, $47,000. Legal notices, $1,697. Open records fees paid to lawyers, $115,549. You are $106,000 over budget in legal expenses with 3 months of additional expenses to go to finish out the fiscal year. You are spending money to insulate yourselves from the law and your constituents. Your new bookkeeper reported last month that your numbers look good. I do not share his opinion. Any public entity that is on par to spend over 9% of its annual budget on legal fees is in real trouble. I have asked under open records to review all attorney invoices each month to see what is necessitating such outrageous expenses, unmatched by any MUD district that surrounds us. Bill Flickinger is increasing his fees tonight, so expect a significant increase to your legal expenses in the future because the lack of transparency, lack of integrity, and outright dishonesty that defines this board is unmatched. There is no justifiable reason to have incurred these expenses in a MUD district our size. Your malfeasance requires an explanation.
Okay, agenda item 8, reimbursement of legal fees incurred by Sage Management.
To prevent them from releasing public records. The resolution professing that silencing your contractors benefits the district, accomplishes the public purpose, and the district receives a return benefit from their silence is an interesting approach to criminality. It sounds like 1984 doublespeak. Since I brought to your attention 7 months ago that this specific contractor is being dishonest and lying to your constituents, and I have given you additional examples each and every month since reporting my concern, you have voted to cover up for them, incurring even more legal expense for the district. You, Catherine, received the records request first. It's been almost 4 months now, and you have still not released the public record. Please explain yourself to your constituents listening at home.
Okay, agenda item 9, pending an open records request.
Prior and pending.
Yeah,
Item
sorry.
number 13 on Bill's spreadsheet of outstanding requests are director salaries records. The TCEQ publication for Texas Water District states that directors must file a verified statement about the work performed for the district in order to receive any fees of office. Our tax dollars are paying for you to do your job. These records are required to be available for public inspection. It's written right into the requirements of the position, and there is nothing confidential recorded on the verified statement. The facts are that I asked for these records 4 months ago, that you have incurred legal fees to actively withhold these records, and you continue to do so. The 5 of you directors combined have collected $13,050 for work performed for this MUD district in those same 4 months, with records you had to provide your bookkeeper in order to be paid. Yet you are unwilling to surrender the records despite the fact that the law says they must be made available to the public. That screams of corruption to me. COVID cannot be an excuse when Infomark, the contractor who has these records, is collecting their full monthly fees for services they are paid to provide. That includes fulfilling open records requests. Either you are paying them to do nothing or you are willfully directing them to withhold public records so we don't see all the steak and lobster dinners. I'm preparing more open records requests to review the time accounting records for every Infomark employee associated with this account in order to see what the holdup is and what you are paying them to do.
Okay, agenda item 12.
Parks Subcommittee. Jana, in the past 2 years, the district has spent in excess of $1 million on parks and ponds. Plants and trees are dying in almost every one of them. The bookkeeper's report since the parks were closed in March reveals that $21,523 has been spent on routine park maintenance in the past 4 months for parks that are closed. You are also on the Billing and Invoice Committee, so you have approved every one of these expenses. The dead trees are falling over the sidewalk in Anderson Mill Park, so this money didn't take care of that problem. I need to understand what you have done with $21,000 over 4 months in maintenance fees for parks that are closed. I would also like you to explain why your committee is wasting time and another $20,000 to develop a long-term park plan with these facts available to anyone paying attention. There is a global pandemic that has shut down our parks for the past 4 months. They remain closed with not so much as a prediction on when they might open again. There is no way to know today what parks of the future will need to look like. You have no idea when it will be safe or how the future of a park system will function post-pandemic. There is no expertise in the field to draw from either. Post-pandemic design is new. Any planning you do today risks being obsolete before the ink is even dry. It is physically irresponsible and morally bankrupt for you to push through your personal agenda when there is no science or industry standard on the future of suburban green space in a country where a virus has forced us all indoors. Public stewards entrusted with tax dollars do not use public funds to serve their own interests. The interests of the community must come before your own, and you have nothing whatsoever to demonstrate that any 5-year park plan created today would be useful or meaningful in the future. I've asked
Time. Okay, thank you, Linda. Okay, next we have Nancy Baker. You wanted to make a public comment.
Hi, yes. So I have a good friend, Lena Sacco, and I've been talking a little bit with Art Madrano and also with Louis Zervigon a little bit about a way that we could memorialize a wonderful man named Thomas Sacco, who volunteered his time considerably in our MUD district over at the field off of Hatch. And their family is looking for a way to memorialize him and possibly put up a sign in the field off of Hatch to just honor him and all of the time that he spent out there coaching kids in our community right in our MUD district. And so I invited Lena Sacco here, the wife of Thomas Sacco, who passed away last year from a terrible battle with bone cancer. And I just wanted to let her speak a little bit to him and who he was and just kind of what they're hoping to be able to do within our MUD just to memorialize this person who made a great contribution.
Okay.
Lena?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you all for having me. It was a joy when I heard from Nancy. Well, first of all, apologize for the background noise. I'm in my vehicle, so there's that. But yeah, so knowing Nancy is a great friend of mine. Our daughters cheer together. We cheer for my husband's football team. My husband, Tom Sacco, has been a Cedar Park youth football coach for 6-7 years. Prior to that, he coached through Leander Cedar Park Pop Warner before they became CTYFA. We have lived in Cedar Park, Texas for the past 15 years. And in those 15 years, my husband gave back to our community and the youth and just enjoyed coaching. In September of 2017, he got diagnosed with cancer, however, still pushed through and continued to coach, utilizing Hatch Pond Park as his favorite place to held practice. There is a wonderful tree at that park where the boys would go for their breaks. And so for the past couple of times, we have put a sign up there to label it Sacco Field. However, both of those times, the sign has been removed. Again, it's a place where he has, excuse me.
It's okay.
A place where he spent many of his evenings, sometimes on weekends, and just put into the community with the kids. A lot of the kids that he has coached are incoming 8th graders at Cedar Park Middle School. And even throughout Leander, he's got some kids that are now in high school at Vista and Rouse and just throughout this area. And that was his place. It wasn't really a CPYFA approved location. So a lot of the board would give him a hard time because the field was not football practice appropriate. However, it just rang to him. It was close to our home, and it was a place that he really enjoyed, and the boys eventually enjoyed it as well. And a lot of them still go there to work out. And so it just really means a lot to all of us because, so June 8th was the day that he passed. June 8th, we had a balloon ceremony there for him, and we put up a new sign, and within a week, that sign was removed.
Okay.
So it's just special to us, important to me, to our community, that he is remembered for the great man that he was.
So, and what was his, what did he coach? Was he a baseball or football?
He was football, youth football coach.
Okay.
Cedar Park Youth Football Association.
Okay.
I have a
So,
question. This is for Bill. Do we have an agenda item where we can discuss this instead of just hearing her request?
Well, we have a general parks item, but this is particular to a memorial or a sign or renaming a park. So we probably should put this on our next agenda for consideration. Of course, in the
Louis,
meantime,
I thought we put this on the infrastructure agenda, but Herb is not here, of course.
Yeah.
So
well, it's not on the meeting agenda, so I wouldn't recommend taking action or deliberating it. We can put it on the agenda for next meeting. In the meantime, the Parks Committee can investigate it.
Okay, so what I'm interested in is whether under some agenda item, Art could describe what his thoughts are about this, either in the parks section of the agenda or the infrastructure. So what I'm looking for is, Bill, can you bless that possibility?
I don't think it's on the agenda tonight, so not tonight.
okay. So just as an aside, we don't have Herb here, so we're not going to have an engineer's report at all then.
No, Herb had a family emergency to tend to, so he would not be here this week.
Okay.
yeah, Nancy, we had that on the infrastructure committee agenda, but he had an emergency, so he didn't show up.
Okay.
Okay, so before we end, let me assure Lena that we are very much aware of this, and we will deal with it at an appropriate time when we can legally do so. Because we're a public body, we can't make decisions or even discuss things unless they're on the agenda. But please note that it's very much on our minds.
I appreciate the time, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So is there a way we can get on to maybe the next meeting's agenda,
Oh.
or what's the best next course?
Yes, we will get it on the next meeting agendas.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your consideration.
Thank you, Lena. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, and I think that was it then, the end of our public comment. So I'm going to close that portion of the meeting. And we will go to agenda item 2, which was presentations by the Anderson Mill West Neighborhood Association, Hunters Glen, Homeowners Association, Lakeline Oaks, HOA, and Valente Hills HOA. And we don't have anybody from any of those organizations here tonight. Okay. Agenda item 3, participation by the district in a traffic study on related issues to Astor Pass and other parts of the district. I don't have anything on this right now. Jana, did you have anything that you wanted to comment on?
Nope, not at this time. We're still working on that.
Right. Okay. And hey, Megan, I'm just going to call out to you. Has anything come through you since we're working with you on this?
I don't think there's been really much change since last month. We're still just working on coordinating with the county on various things. I know Beth had been paying attention to the crosswalk restriping situation, which is happening at least in Williamson County right now. So I think there's going to be some follow-up related to that to make sure that they got all the crosswalks.
Okay.
So that they're ready to go for whenever we go back to school.
Right. Well, that's definitely part of that. Okay. So agenda item 4. So we don't have anything to talk about in the engineer's report?
No, Herb met with me prior to letting us know that he wouldn't be in attendance tonight and said that he didn't have any agenda items to make motion with. And he didn't send me any notes because he didn't have anything prepared prior to his family emergency. And Louis, I believe he talked to you as well.
Yes, and let me add that so that everyone will know, Herb's younger brother died, and he died suddenly, and they were very close, and he is responsible for all of the arrangements. Secondly, I'd like to point out that we had nothing from the infrastructure committee that required board action. It was just a series of reports, which we can forego.
Okay. Okay. So, agenda item 5, report from the district's landscape contractor. Do we have anything on that item?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Agenda item 6, report from the on security patrols, and we have Constable Robert with us today. And I'm hoping you have something to tell us about what's going on in our community during our pandemic.
Actually, yes. You know, we've I'd like to include what I'm about to say on, you know, how there's a countywide issue that's been going on, and but it's also somewhat has affected the MUD a little bit, you know, the place where y'all live. And so what's happened is there's been a real spike in things involving the mobile outreach team. It's a MOT team. And so what's happened is over the course of, or since through June of this year, as opposed to if you compare it to June of last year, the calls that the mobile outreach team has been on has doubled. And the majority of those have to do with things involving mental health type of calls. And so what they've said is that they feel like it has a lot to do with the COVID-19 situation that's been transpiring. And so, and what I can tell you about about the MUD is that, you know, I myself have actually responded to some calls, you know, that had to do with disturbances and things like that. Nothing that, you know, was a real where you know, anyone was you know, arrested or anything like that. It was just, you know, a lot of times, you know, folks may have disagreements, you know, and we just, you know, we respond to, you know, to make sure that everything's okay. So I think, you know, one of the things I'd like to tell everyone is that there's some help out there in case folks need it. Okay. So if what I want to share is that if anyone's having a hard time or feels like they really do need to talk to someone, you know, wherever that might be throughout the county, but, you know, obviously we're talking about the MUD here. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and put some information out for you. If anyone feels like they really need to, you know, need some assistance that way, you know, whatever it might be, especially with the COVID-19 situation, making it so stressful for a lot of folks. There is a place that you can go to on our website on the wilco.org. So if anyone's interested, if you'll just, when you go to wilco.org, and I'm just looking down at my notes because I don't know that I remember all of this. So if you'll just bear with me, there's a at the top of the page, there's a link on there for residents, and if you click on that, it'll take you to community community resources, and you'll find a lot of resources there that you can actually use. But there's also a phone number, and this is statewide actually, and this is run by the Texas Health and Human Services here in Texas. And so there's two things. There's a couple of phone numbers, and I don't know if you want me to just give those phone numbers or if there's a way to get them out there so that y'all can put them on the website, Catherine. I don't know. It's up to you.
Right. What I suggest that you do is that you send an email to Lee Caitlin, because
Yes.
she can get them onto the MUD's COVID-19 page.
Yes,
and put links to, so that that our webpage will be a link to the resources on the wilco.org website.
Okay, so that was really important because you know, we have responded to, you know, some different things. The other thing is I've actually did some research, and I've talked to some folks in reference to the I think the situation going on Astor Pass, and so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and forward that information to y'all. There's a person in Travis County that has actually dealt with something that was very similar, and they've actually been very successful. And I'm going to forward this to Megan, if that's okay, and then I'll forward it to the board as well.
Yes, well, but you're talking about the traffic study that we're trying to do on Astor Pass.
Yes, ma'am. It has something to do with the right. It's and what it is it's something that Megan and I have just briefly kind of talked about, and I told her that I had met someone in another near the MUD, in another a MUD district that actually has dealt with a very similar issue. So anyway, I've got that contact information, and I'm going to go ahead and forward that to y'all. So maybe that person has said that they would love to speak to anyone that might have any questions or whatever. They've done a lot of stuff already. So if that's okay with y'all, I'll do that.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay,
I have a question for Robert.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Robert, are we under any kind of regulations relative to the wearing of masks in the parks?
Okay, I have actually, I've looked at that a little bit. So, yeah, it's a good question. Now, as long as you are, well, let me just say this. You know, the governor recently put out a notice, a request to asking people to wear masks, and so one of the questions that we were getting a lot was, okay, is that enforceable? You know, how is that enforceable, and is it? And you know, as of right now, it is not enforceable. Okay, for us, as far as law enforcement, you know, we can ask people, you know, surely, and just you know, let them know that, hey, listen, you know, if you're going to be at the park, you know, you need to be either 6 foot, you know, maintain that distance, that social distancing, or wear a mask. I have not seen any issues at the parks as of yet. I do, you know, patrol the parks, and there have been folks walking and stuff like that. But no, and you know, there's not anything. I haven't seen any issues. I've talked to some of the other deputies, and they said the same thing. So you don't have to wear a mask as long as you're maintaining that social distancing. And so I think it's a really good idea that you know, what you put in place, which is that folks can use the, you know, the walking trails, and because I think that kind of that really helps towards that very issue that you just said or talked about, Lewis. So there's not anything that is enforceable at this point. What the governor did was what he put out was to the commissioners court. I'm sorry, giving the commissioners some guidance on if they wanted to add some additional, I guess, restrictions, as well as to the folks at the cities. But that has not, no one has talked to us about that. There has not been anything new. We have not received anything through our office in reference to more, it being more restrictive or us using, being able to use some sort of take some action on anything other than
Robert, so
reminding
there's no
folks.
mandate whatsoever.
No, sir. There's not a mandate that except for what the governor has put out, and
There's not a mandate,
really what it
right?
was, right, was basically given, for lack of a better word, the permission to these other agencies to make it, to create more, to make those mandates like what you were saying, but that as of yet has not happened.
But that does, but Art, that doesn't prevent private companies from making mandates. I just read that Walmart just required all visitors to their stores now have to wear a mask. It's just a
Right.
non-issue.
What about municipalities like us?
I don't think we have that jurisdiction.
So one of the concerns I had was that we're in both Williamson and Travis counties. So Robert, I'm assuming you're talking mainly about Williamson, but we do have some parks, or at least one park in Travis County. And I have this impression that Travis is setting some of its own rules. Perhaps I'm wrong.
I am not certain, Louis. I can certainly, I can find out. I can ask. I can certainly ask that question. I'm sorry, I don't have that answer for you right now. But that's certainly a great question, and it's one that I'm gonna research, as soon as possible and try and find out.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else you want to share with us, Robert?
Not anything else. Well, let me just say one last thing. We've been very careful with our very own social distancing, and at our even in our building, we're not able to. We have to wear masks to enter any county building, as I guess folks know by now. So we don't get any passes or any special treatment or anything. We have to do the same thing, and we do. So
are they taking
if anybody has any
temperatures?
questions.
Are they taking temperatures to get into county buildings?
Most.
Really?
They're not.
Oh.
We are okay. Ours, the way that they're doing our building, for instance, in Cedar Park. Okay, the tax office and the annex building is what they call it. We're not doing that any longer. We were at one time, but it's not being done at this time now.
Okay.
I was in another building in Georgetown, and yes, they were. They were doing that. So it just kind of depends, I think. I know the sheriff's office is doing it at their facilities, and, stuff like that. But we're not doing it in our building.
The thing is, the whole business of taking temperature has become passé in the sense that we now know that people can be infectious while they're asymptomatic.
Yes.
So people can go around for days without fever and still be spreading the virus, unfortunately.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Robert. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, Catherine, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you
ma'am.
taking the time to meet with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So agenda item 7. Who wants to go first? Mackenzie or Michael?
Michael, it's up to you.
Coming off mute. I'm ready.
You're ready?
Okay.
Okay. And you're going to screen share, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
If I can get it to work today, so we'll see. There's share screen. Okay, so we'll start with the financials.
What page?
If I can find it, I would tell you. Why I opened this? It's in the packet. That's why. I believe that's why I'm sitting here not seeing it separate.
We have your report and we also have the budget, but I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Oh, he's going to screen share so we can all see it.
Yeah, there it is. So it's agenda item 7, part 2, the financials. And for some reason, I'm not seeing it. I guess maybe I have too many things open. There we go. That was why. Yep, had to go deeper. Okay, so can you see the front page of the financials?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So, not much to say about the front page of the financials. Terms of the calendar, this being July, this is when we review the June financials. We have the quarterly investment report, and we have our first run at the budget, which I believe is a separate agenda item. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so let's go to the bad news, of course. We've been tracking this fiscal year that we're behind on collections and taxes, and we still are. We collected just about the same amount in June as we did last year, but so we didn't make up any of the ground. Last year, we were a little over 99% collected, and this year we're a little under 96.5% collected. So
how short are we then right now?
Yeah. So let's go on to page 4 of the financials, which has that information, and I need to hide this so I can see what I'm saying. Yeah, here we go. So on the property tax, we've collected a total of 1.73 thus far this fiscal year. That puts us 18.8 behind pace from last fiscal year. So that's what that percentage shortage looks like.
Okay.
And worth noting that the full annual budget is 1763. So we're about 32.5 behind last year. At this point of year, it's hard to know if we'll collect any more. Collections really slow down in the last few months. But there have been cases where one large taxpayer finally clears out and you get something in late. So it's possible that you get back on target, but I'm not expecting that. So in terms of the budget, as we're looking ahead, I'm projecting that we're going to have about a $30,000 shortfall. Just kind of assume at this point that we're not going to take anything more in.
You mean 30,000 shortfall on income or net?
On the income for the property taxes themselves only. Now, you're in such good shape against all of your other expenses and the net bottom line that you're still positive by quite a bit, but this is negatively impacting you. And it's unforeseeable. I've never had a situation like this before on a district that's has shortfall this much. We take a very conservative approach in our budget projections, but in this case, it wasn't conservative enough. A situation where there's a global pandemic and a substantial economic dislocation. So unpredictable, but when we do talk about the budgets, typically we take a conservative approach on what the certified assessed value is. We'll talk about this more when we hit that point. But and then we are usually conservative by saying 99% collection, because you're getting 99.5 to 99.9% collections. We might want to drop down a point to 98, and that would have pretty much done this. We would have been right in pocket at that point. So, it's something to discuss if you feel like this might recur. But the other side of the fact that you're short on property taxes is that those property taxes are still owed. And so they're still earning penalties and interest. And when they do get paid, you will get paid that amount and you'll get more because of the penalties and interest. So in the long run, it's not a bad deal. It's definitely a problem in the short run for the budget for this fiscal year, though.
Michael, is this similar to what you're seeing with your other Infomart customers?
Well, actually, most of my districts somehow weren't impacted at all. We've had some that have shortfall, but still, because of our conservative approach, are still hit budget or exceeded it. I have one other district in the same shape as you that's 3.5% points behind and looks likely to shallow. It's a smaller district, so the amount they're shallowing is going to be small. But
But the
So you're
percentage is
the,
higher, yeah.
yeah. But your district is, is for, out of the districts that I have seen, this is the one, the worst case scenario.
Okay.
So
Are we allowed to know what properties are delinquent?
well, I do know, I know how to navigate on the Travis County website. I can actually run lot by lot and find out the payment status of each and every lot in the district. I don't know that for Williamson County yet, and I have that as a note to train up on that and then get that information for you. Because most of your district's Williamson County, right?
Yes.
So that's the big part. So that's really what we need to know.
It's possible you're looking at a functionality that Travis has that Williamson County doesn't have.
Right, and that's, yeah, that's the point. I have a couple, I have another, the other district I was talking about that's shallowing is in Hayes, and I don't know how to access them yet either, but it's something that I'll be looking into in this next month. We'll be getting the certified AVs, and we would like to know where we're at this fiscal year. And if it's really just one big taxpayer, or if this is kind of, an ocean of smaller taxpayers who, have lost their jobs or have had their revenue negatively impacted and are trying to work through that.
Right.
So we just don't know what the cause is. I can pull you that information and you will know better than I who these individuals are and what their circumstances are. But,
Michael, when I'm
at least on Travis County, I say I can pull that information. So, but I'm hoping to find the same functionality on Williamson.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. What I'm puzzled by is on the property tax, you're showing that we're $18,850 down on the budget, but on the total income, you're showing that we're up 98,000 to 670. So I'm not sure quite how to interpret that. Does that mean that
right. Well, that's, I was going to bring, that was the next thing I was going to touch on, is that despite the fact that your property tax is low, you are way above budget on water service. So out of that 98.6, 99.9 is the fact that water fees this year are much higher than budget. Lisa, when she budgeted last year, she works off a multi-year rolling average. And this year is much better than average against the way that she worked it. And okay. I'm very familiar with that now because when I was working through her budget process, I saw how she was doing that, and it's quite a bit of work that she was doing, but I tried to continue it. Okay. And so on revenue, you're up substantially, almost 100,000, almost all of it water. Everything else effectively washes out. Norm, go ahead.
Are those numbers cash or accrued? Like we're up.
Those are actual numbers. Yeah, there's no accruals in any of that.
Okay.
So.
Because we know we've got people who are way behind on paying their water bills. So we're looking at these numbers at this high, despite.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. When you asked the question that way, no. Yes, you are correct in your assumption that the water service fees that we have booked are accruals in that sense, in that is the amount that has been billed to customers.
Okay.
Not collected. But not collected. This report is modified accrual accounting, which is what we're required to do. And so we book the revenue when it's earned, and the cash as it comes in, it will be, comes in on the other side as cash. But other people in Infomark can answer the question about what our arrears look like. If arrears are substantially up, and feel free to chime in on that, Mackenzie. That would answer your question.
Thank you.
The related thing that I always want to point out, when you're this far ahead on water revenue, well, you have an expense that's tied to water. So your bulk water purchases. And so typically quite a lot of that bonus revenue you get washes out because, well, you had to buy it all too. But that first line of expenses, 7,000 bulk water purchases, shows that you're 25,000 ahead of budget on water. Part of that could be a timing issue. I said this last month, but it was the same case. You were way ahead on revenue and under on expense, good on both sides, and you still are this month. But there is a certain lag in what their billing period is, what we're getting reported, what goes on the books, as opposed to what our billing period on the water, on your customer side is. There's some variance there. So you might not actually be $125,000 ahead, but you're definitely a very large number ahead on water between the revenue and expense. So again, on the fundamental thing that this district was created to do, which is to provide water service, you are doing very well, despite those who do not want to face obvious mathematics. Moving on. So we've already touched on the fact that you're well ahead on revenue thus far this year. We'll roll down to your total expenses. Your total expenses are a bit higher than budget, about 7,600 more than budget. And a lot of things contributing to that. The fire protection expense, the increase, we didn't budget enough of an increase from year to year for that. The biggest item, of course, is the open records request, which is 65.5, well over budget, 115,000 already spent and more in the pipeline. Worth noting that since you have an AV of a little over 60,000, that means that each penny of your tax is, 60, big number. The point I was making actually is that each penny on your tax is worth just about $60,000, $61,000 in last year's AV. So that means that 115 is almost 2 full cents on each and every one of your taxpayers' tax bill. That is the additional amount that they're paying because
of the open records expense.
Yes.
Okay.
But it is worth noting that that is not the only expense that's over. There are other items that have exceeded budget, and we'll be touching on some of that when we do the budget. But it is worth noting that legal fees general is about almost 40,000 over budget. That is the next biggest item. So that is a valid point to make. So that puts us at our, your regular expenses before the parks, a bit over budget. The parks are all a bit over budget each. A net total of about 10,000 across all of them, 14,000, sorry. About 14,000 over budget. The key to that, when I was going through the budget process here, I've been pointing out to you all every month that you've been over budget on parks. This was a budgeting issue in the transition to the new cap system. It was underestimated how much expense is out there for the materials. It's allocated across all the parks. And that's the other reason. Before, those expenses were they weren't sitting on the parks, they were sitting in, kind of a more general district maintenance or park maintenance line. And now that they're in an individual park by park, you can really see it makes each one of the parks was under budgeted as a result. But this is lots of small things, doggy bags, it's just, it's not like these are huge items that are driving this. Again, these are relatively small numbers as part of your budget, but
and it's all stuff that we're buying, and it's all has to do. Okay, because this was the thing that I was trying to understand. Where is it all going? Because it's not like we've spent anything. This is just making sure that there's poo bags out there, and paying the electric bill and mowing the grass. And
I mean, there were some costs incurred for closing the parks for COVID, but signage and the like. But,
Yeah.
it is, it's surprising to see, this level, but this is what it is. And so I'm budgeting with this in mind going forward. Looking at it, I didn't really see that these were one-offs. This is the level that it should have been budgeted at, but wasn't.
Well, all I'm hearing you is that we just didn't spread the money around correctly.
Right. Yeah. The money was in the budget overall, because when we get down to the bottom sections, you're going to see you're way under budget on the more big ticket items. The problem is that not enough of that budget was put into the maintenance for the parks, each individual park.
Okay.
Not enough for that.
Yeah,
So-
like electricity 75, you budgeted 58. I mean, it's like, okay.
And Michael, it looks
Yes.
like we're way under budget on the garbage collection. Do you have any explanation for that?
That one I am definitely looking into, because that jumped out at me as well. When I walked through it, you can see that it's shallowing by $3,800 a month now. And so, across 9 months, that's 37, is pretty close to that $3,800 a month. I was looking at it, and Lisa included an escalator, but she was, I want to go back and look at that particular budget line again and then look at the detail. I was a little rushed at that point when I finally got to that particular line item on your budget, since I still hadn't gotten it to you and it was almost 4 o'clock. But that one strikes out to me that we over budgeted there. And so I'm looking at I used the same technique to budget it, and I think I'm more accurate, but for the new one. But I'm definitely looking at that again, because that's a big shortfall. I've had it go the other way, where we didn't budget enough for the increase. The CPI can really be a surprise. Sometimes it can be almost 5% when nothing else in the world is, in the U.S. was doing over 2.5%. But it's volatile, because a big chunk of it is fuel, and fuel is exceptionally volatile when it comes to inflation. Right. So you may have a good CPI coming up as a result, but it's hard to tell. But Lisa included a 3% CPI built in, and part of it is that this came in under that. But we were shortfalling before the new amount as well. So, we were coming in under budget before that. So part of it is that she budgeted. It turned out that the CPI increase was less than she budgeted. But part of it is just the base amount, I think, was miscalculated, or was just off a little bit, and it's accumulated over the entire fiscal year.
So on the year to date for garbage collection, we're just about a month off. Is that the result of this kind of accumulation you're talking about?
Yes, if you take that 3,800 and multiply it by 9 months, you get a little south of 37. It's like 30, what is it? 30, okay. 72, 20, about 34. For against 9 months, it's a little over a little over 4,000 a month shortfalling. But I do want to actually state that there is an issue on garbage I need to look into, and in terms of the months that we're being charged on. But I'll get it. I want to get with them first and make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. But otherwise, the billing from them looks good. So certainly this is a good issue to have, that you're under budget. The concern, as you were kind of pointing out, hey, that's 1 month. Are we missing a month? And the answer is no, we're not. But okay, so moving on from that section, we've talked about the parks. Now we get to the bigger ticket items. And on these, we came in over on the drip irrigation system, budgeted $30,000 and cost $35,600. Out of the $50,000 in park improvements that you planned, we've done a little under 13. The Sun Chase Park Bridge came in $220 over. There might be another engineering invoice, so it might be a little more over than that. But you included a 10% contingency that I didn't bother to, allocate part of it to, because that's understood. So you can actually see how much each one came in over. But so, not really over budget when you budgeted 10% contingency. So, on the detention pond improvements, we've moved through a lot this year. We have less than 10,000 left in budget for the year, but that really, I'm not sure how much more we're going to do on that. But then the big items that that we're looking at. Oops, sorry. I am inexpertly using my mouse.
Your water system appears to be way down.
Yes. Water expense is way down on the water maintenance. And so that's just one more item about how well you're doing on water. Not only are you 100,000 ahead in revenue and 25,000 under in bulk water purchases, but 64,000 under in terms of the expense on the system itself. So, and it's hard to predict what maintenance you're going to have in the course of a year. It does jump from year to year. So this happens to be a really good year. I don't think I'm planning on lowering the budget when I walk through the budget. Part of that system is showing how it's allocated. And so, all of those items that compose that, look reasonable. It's meant to be a conservative estimate. And then you can see the sewer system also well under budget. Lift stations extremely under budget. Stormwater, again, the same thing. Those add up to 200,000 just among those four items, over 200,000, and that is really just about what you're ahead on the bottom line. You're about 190,000 better than budget in total expense. And that puts you at 289,000 better than budget. And
even
that,
after having spent $115,000 on open
that's right.
records legal
If you had
expense.
had that 115,
Wow.
you would be 400,000 ahead of budget. That's correct.
Wow.
Right. And you may end up even better under budget, depending on whether you do, some of the projects or not this fiscal year. If you don't use up all of that budget that you allocated, some of that will come back. When I created the budget, when we get to that, I just went ahead and assumed that you would find a way to spend it all by the end of the fiscal year. But that's because this is the first draft, and it was really just for get feedback from you. But yes, by any rational accounting standard, being 289,000 better than budget is good. So I'm not sure I understand the feedback on that, but that's okay. It's not my job
Let me
too.
think about that. So 24, so that's like 4 cents right there. Assuming
Yes.
we make that is 4 cents, all things being equal.
So,
Yes.
Michael, the fact that you're similarly under budget for water system maintenance, sewer system maintenance, and lift station maintenance, and stormwater system, similarly under budget for those four big items, that would suggest to me that perhaps we went in with a wrong.
Yes, I do want to state when I show you the budget, we can walk through those items. But I looked at them, and that came from Christy and Lisa and the entire team. They budgeted high, probably conservatively to prepare, because you don't know what's going to happen in the course of the year. You can have a few big ticket items that really swing the budget, and you still could in the course of this fiscal year. But yeah, we might be able to draw those numbers down to get to a more reasonable budget if you think that those numbers are not reasonable. I'm not going to make a characterization of them. All I know are numbers. I don't know what is behind them here.
We're looking at the budget now, and this suggests we might want to look at these issues for the new budget.
Right, and I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so we
Michael,
talked about how
friendly.
you're 289,000 better than budget. which would be 400,000 if we didn't have 115,000 in open record request.
Right.
The graphical representation of your a P&L here, month by month, showing how, in most months you're reasonably close to budget. And in most cases, when it's a variance, you're under budget. So that's all that's showing here. This is the maintenance cap tracking. So each month you're paying, a little under 6,500 to Infomark to do, basic things, basic maintenance. And we track how much it actually costs us each month and track it on this sheet. And so through June, we've spent 25.6. And you have paid us 58.3. So we're going to owe you 32.7 back if the fiscal year ended right here.
Okay.
So you'll be getting a big check from us unless we find some more work. But and I'm sure there are things that some things we'll need to do. But that's how the system works. You get the cash flow even throughout the year, and we guess at what the cost will be, and then we make up the shortfall if we've overbilled you, and you would make up the other side if it turned out that we did more work than we budgeted in the cap. So
this is Christine. Just so the board is aware, you did approve purchasing some meters for your meter replacement program that will go against your cap. So at the end, more than likely the district will owe Infomark back. So just to let you know.
Okay. And what was the time frame that that's going to hit?
We're hoping there's a little back order on the meters. So we're hoping to receive those meters by next month, if not early September.
Okay. So they're going to hit this fiscal year then?
Correct.
Okay. And that's all I want to know. Thanks.
Yep.
You're welcome.
All right. So now moving on to the balance sheet. I always say there's really nothing to comment on here, but related to a comment that Lewis made, the water receivable is up 43.3 from this time last year. And so that's a snapshot of your receivables from the water payments effectively. So, the surmise that there's some revenue out there that the district in terms of cash has not received is validated by that. Once again, Lewis has a sharp eye. So, and was there anything else I wanted to say on that? I think not.
This is also showing your taxes receivable up 53,000.
Yes, let me, good one. I'm so used to just looking at that. But yes, so that shows that 53,000, that you have 53,000 more uncollected at this time of year than you did last year total. So again, it validates the numbers that you saw in terms of the percentage collected and where you're at versus budget. So that doesn't mean that you're down 53,000 in real money directly, because it's a bigger number this year. So percentage wise, that is not as big a chunk. It's a much bigger chunk than the 37 was last year, but still it's off of a bigger number. So it's not quite apples to apples. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say on the balance sheets. All right, so cash. And quite a bit on this. You can see that the tax pool rate is down to 0.2165. It dropped precipitously, as a result of the economic dislocation, but it stabilized. The rate's much better than alternate money markets that will do the governmental funds. It's actually competitive with most bank CDs. So that's not a terrible thing, but it does. I did mean to point this out when we were on the P&L, and certainly pointed out when we're doing the budget, is that we're going to shortfall on interest income by quite a bit. and no reason to believe that we won't be having a relatively low number next year, at least for the very beginning of the year. And so I factored that in, but obviously your input on what number you feel is appropriate. When we hit the budget, that's real. It's a guess, but I made what I felt was an educated guess. So in the operating fund, a little over 2.8 million, debt service 766, which means that the bond payment that you have due on September of 579, you have enough to pay it plus 187. So that's always a good news. It means your financial advisor, has done her job well, as she always does, in making sure that you have enough of a reserve in the debt service to cover your payments, which you are completely and utterly obligated to make. So moving on, the investment activity report. Normally there's nothing to say on this, but this month actually the CD matured, and you made over 1,400 in interest across its 9 months. East West Bank continued to be one of the few banks willing to offer a good rate. Unfortunately, that good rate is only 0.42. So we renewed for the same 9-month period. I put on my, looked at my my
crystal ball.
Crystal ball. There's the term I was looking for. And felt like that we had to get far enough past the election and, into next year. And who knows when the global pandemic is going to clear up or not. But I felt like 9 months put us in a good pocket of where rates might be increasing. And I didn't want to go longer than that because I do feel like there's a good chance that they might by that point. So 0.42 was the best that we could find. This is a bad time to be trying to invest. Banks don't really want your money if they don't want to lend it to anybody because, there's a global pandemic or another kind of economic dislocation. But we've already made $10 on that CD. So in the 8 days that it's been open. Yeah, you're not going to make a whole lot on that, but still it's going to be a better rate than text pool. So moving on to the cash balance trend, which is a visual representation of how much cash you have on hand by fund. The blue line is above the black line. That's exactly what you want. The black line being your 6-month reserve. You're following the traditional MUD pattern of you jumping up as you get your collections in December and January, and then shallowing throughout the rest of the calendar year. Last year you ended up just above your 6 months. We still expect that to be true this fiscal year as well. And then this is the operating fund balance report that y'all requested that Lisa worked up for you. And the top part here is basically when you were budgeting last year and based on what you actually ended the fiscal year at, you thought that you would end this fiscal year at a little over 2 million. Based on how you've done thus far this fiscal year, you are looking at 2.2, so about 200,000 better than you projected.
Which is almost all maintenance. So no major, nothing we don't want anything to break.
Right, cross your fingers. So no whammies.
Michael, this is a presentation that I requested a long time ago because before we had this, we really were blind in terms of anticipating where we'd be at the end of the year.
Exactly.
So Lisa worked this up at my request, and I'm wondering, do you do anything like this for any of your other clients?
Well, what's funny about it is that no, we don't on most of ours, but I have a district where I do this in an email to them before every meeting. I tell them where we're projecting to end the fiscal year in terms of the fund balance. And on prior districts, I had done this. There had been a district I recalled when I worked at Municipal Accounting and Consulting that the same report, because it's good information. Most of our districts aren't necessarily interested in it. They feel like, because this basically ties to your P&L. If you know you're about 200,000 ahead, then you're about 200,000 ahead. But this ties a little more directly to the cash side of it, which in many ways is more important perhaps than the P&L side, which is an accrual, modified accrual report. So yes, this is very good information, and I don't mind running it every month. So the check register, and we're sliding down. Out of the operating account, a little over 311,000. Out of the manager's account, which is basically just the patrol checks, almost 3,800. So a grand total of 315,106.80. That's for approval at this meeting.
Michael, can I interrupt a second?
Yes.
Still flicking through. On your check register, the one that it was in the packet that you're looking at now, we have a check 4101.
Oh, yes. Thank you for pointing that out. I talked to Art about it when we were doing the bills and invoices. Yes.
Yes. And so we have had some discussion at the committee level with the Open Records Committee, Lewis and Catherine. And this check is set up as a direct pay to the attorneys for Sage.
Right.
On agenda item 8, we have consideration of reimbursement. Our prior resolution, board resolution, only dealt with reimbursement, not direct payment to the consultants. So we have agenda item on it, but I would recommend that not be included in the approval of the checks tonight.
Right, and I want to apologize to everybody for that, because my recollection of the board meeting where we discussed this is that I thought that paying directly was okay, but Bill's email pointed out that it explicitly says reimbursement. So, I told Art that we were likely going to need to avoid this, and so we put it aside and did not expect it to be approved here. But then, of course, as I was doing this, I neglected to bring that up. So thank you, Bill.
So let me add, we have agenda item 8 to talk about this, and I'm not sure ultimately how the board will decide to handle this, whether they'll want to do an approval of reimbursement, where after Sage provides proof of payment, then you would issue a check for reimbursement. It's not in this total you have here, obviously. It would be a different check.
Well, I didn't sign the check though for that reason. I wanted to get an invoice from Sage first and then sign the check.
Okay. We have a caller on 465-3065 number. Could you identify yourself? We have a caller calling in on 737-465-3065.
Oh, yes, that's Christy Aldridge. I live at 2806 Hannah K. Lane. Hello.
Yeah, let me get your name again. Could you speak a little louder?
Sure, it's Christy Aldridge, KRISTIALDRIDGE. I live at 2806 Hannah K. Lane. Just joining in the meeting right now.
Okay.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so Christy, what we do we've already gone past public comments. And so what I'm going to do is mute your microphone because public participation has ended, but you're welcome to, attend and listen and watch.
Well, when we were notified, we just said that we could call and participate. We didn't know that there was a certain time that we could call to address our issue.
So may I ask, do we need to address our issue at another meeting? Is that more appropriate?
Okay. Catherine? Catherine?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Why don't we, let me suggest, why don't we find out what the issue is, because it may fit under an agenda item.
That's what I was thinking, yes.
We have been called in about our chickens.
Oh, yeah, I think can't we address that under another agenda item? It's a deed restriction issue.
Hold on.
I'm happy to call back at another time if it's more convenient for you guys. I know you guys have a lot going on. I've been watching the meetings online, so I don't want to keep.
Well, I would love to be able to discuss it, because if we don't take care of it tonight, we're going to have to wait until next month.
Okay.
And so that's why, can't we discuss it under something on one of the other agenda items, Bill?
Yeah, when we get to 13, we could do that.
Yes.
And
Yes, and tell you what we'll do, to make this easy for you, once we finish with our financial report, I will jump to agenda item 13 so that we can address your issue immediately, okay?
Okay, that sounds, you can just mute us, guys, and we're here whenever you guys are ready. Just let us know.
Okay.
Okay, so getting back to that check 4101, the expectation was that that would not be approved. If the board, makes the decision that they want to reimburse Sage, rather than wait till the next board meeting, I would just suggest that you consider the option of having authorizing Infomark to use a manager's check. We have sufficient funds in the account to cover that amount, so we could do that between meetings, and then it'll be part of the check register for next month, and you'll see all the backup.
Right.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
I need some clarification because the resolution talks about reimbursement. So do we have on the agenda, do we have a modification of that resolution or a new resolution to permit direct payment?
not on this agenda list. There wasn't time to amend the agenda, and we're in consultation with special counsel on that.
So we don't have a basis for authorizing the payment tonight, is that correct?
Not direct payment, no.
Not direct payment.
Okay, so it looks like Michael's suggestion that we authorize after Sage has submitted their paid receipts, that they pay out of the manager's account. That's how we can avoid having to wait another month.
And we'll need to discuss that in some detail under item 8. I guess my suggestion to Michael would be to, in his total for approval, board approval, take out that check for now.
Yes, and I was just about to do that. So let's drop down to that total. Without the 2002-10, that total is $312,896.80.
Okay.
So $312,896.80.
Okay, so does somebody want to make a motion to approve the checks?
I so move.
Okay, I know we need a number here.
I've moved payment of $312,896.86.
Is it 86 or 80 cents?
80 cents.
80 cents.
I will amend my motion.
6 cents.
$312,896.80.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do we have any discussion that we need to discuss about this? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the vote. Louis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes too. Okay.
All right, so then moving on, page 17 is the tax transfer. Despite the fact that, you're shallow on taxes this year, you still got some in the month. And so we're transferring those to the relevant funds by your tax breakout. Page 18 is the transfer from tax pool into the bank core operating account to cover the checks that you're writing this meeting. It's not for exactly the same amount as the checks because you also have water revenue coming into that account. So just in case that you wondered why that's different. And then this third letter is something that's been pending for a long time. You had to close the prior operating account at BCS because of some issues, which I won't go into here, but we needed to wait enough time for those checks to clear or not. And then, we had the transition with Lisa and some COVID. And so we went a bit longer than that. And I apologize, but I finally, verified everything. And we're ready to close the account. So I'll have this letter for you to sign. And the standard way we have them do it is to send a check for the final amount. That way there's, we see it and then we deposit it into the other account. It makes the closing of an account cleaner than them internally just moving money from one account to another. So.
Okay. So does this letter have to be signed by 3 people? This letter might not, but everything else that the bank wants requires, 3 board member signatures. So I was just treating it like a wire letter and doing that. Okay.
It's possible it doesn't, that maybe just the board president or just one delegee, but I don't want to have them come back and say no and then have to go circulate it. So.
Okay.
If you're signing the other wire transfers, then, you just sign that one as well, right?
Right.
Okay, so the quarterly investment report. And so this shows all of your activity in the last quarter on your investment funds, which are your money markets like Texpool and Boston Capital Bank and your CD at East West Bank. And across all funds, you made a little under $4,400 in interest. And again, as I've mentioned, it's sad that interest rates are so low. That's a lot of money that was in your budget that you're not going to achieve. But still, it's better than nothing. Every dollar that you get here is one less dollar that you have to issue taxes for. So
Michael,
we'll treat that. Go ahead, Louis.
How are we going to do this for me to sign it? Is it going to be left at 1,000 O'Mill and I'll go by and
Yeah,
sign
we'll
it?
do something. I'll get with Mackenzie and she'll work with you the best way.
No
So
problem.
there's no rush on getting this signed. It's not like this gets filed immediately. This will be sitting around and will be part of the audit. So, at any point when you finally can get to sign it is okay. The main thing is, verifying, the accuracy of the report, which I vouch for personally.
Catherine, we do need a motion to approve the investment report.
Oh, okay. So,
I'll move since I'm the investment officer.
okay. To approve the investment report?
Yeah, I'd like to see a second from Chris since he's working with me on the investment.
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, do we have any discussion about the investment report? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the motion. Louis,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Jana,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
and I vote yes too. Okay.
Okay, I have a related question. Since Lisa's gone, Michael, I'm not sure that you have access to the records, whether I'm up for the PFI training. It's a 2-year deal.
We actually keep that right on here, I believe. And I looked at that the other day. Here we go. Yeah, you are up, actually. I thought you were 1 year out for some reason when I just looked at it. And I literally just looked at it, but I guess I was not thinking clearly. Yes, you need to take the training again. So
Yeah.
4 hours.
And also, Chris has talked about taking the training. So maybe
That'd be great.
Maybe you could find online where we could both take it.
Yeah, let me make that note.
Yeah, let me know, Michael.
So PFI training. Yeah, that was always a Lisa thing. She always handled that. So, it's another thing I have to learn how to do because I was spoiled. Lisa did all the cool stuff. So
technically, I'm expired as of this past June 25th.
Yes. Yeah, I should have noticed that when I was when doing that. For some reason, I was seeing 19. I guess it's the 15 because you went more than 2 years the last time. For some reason, I was doing some math in my head that isn't wrong and came to the wrong conclusion. Apologize because, like I said, we've got that. We keep all of your certifications and we have the dates. So. I should have informed you of that myself, particularly when I was filling out this form. So I apologize for not bringing this to your attention earlier.
No apology needed.
All right, moving on. We've already discussed open records. 115.5, well on the pace to, set a new record.
Yeah.
And now the authorized not to exceed amounts. And each month, I think I have a better handle on what you want and what Lisa was doing here. And this is the page. Oops, now I forget which page I'm on. Yeah, this is the footbridge at Sunchase Park, which I think is done. Like I said, there might be one more engineering invoice coming in or so.
There's also a contractor invoice coming in.
Oh, that's right. There's still that piece outstanding. So, so still 70,000 in budget that's unspent. And then the parks beautification. And this one is definitely, there's lots of stuff here. So is that lighted bollard at 620 in El Solito, the in-ground lights that Mackenzie mentioned to me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so it is the same project. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will, now that I recognize that, that's good. Okay. And on this, the only things that I've identified that we've done out of these, and I walked back through, you know, everything that I'd coded that might be these. So if you think you did that this did happen, and if you know who and when, you know, vendor or whatever, I may have it misclassified. It might be sitting in a park, you know, an individual park or something. But
well, I know that the wildflower seeds we put out last fall. So
okay, because you said that to me last month, and I looked. I didn't see it, but I'll go back on that one again.
Well, all I can tell you is we put seeds out. Now, maybe some fairy brought them to us. I don't know.
Yes, that's true. That's entirely possible.
Another
that you
thing
didn't
is,
get billed for it. But yeah, I'll look for that one again.
So, Michael,
Such a small number. That's yeah.
So Michael, I'm looking at this Sunchase Bridge and this parks thing, and I'm looking at it carefully, and I don't see any footprints on there that would substantiate the very breathless allegations of criminality. And maybe I'm missing something, but it looks like we're just moving along with sufficient balances and work to be done. I just don't see criminality here.
No, I'm not. I don't see it either. But
I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak to that. But all I can say as an accountant is that your financials are in very good shape, and you board members, you know your P&L, you know your budgets, you know your subcommittee's budgets, and you know where you're at in these projects. So that's well beyond the bar that I see at most districts. So I don't know what else to say about that.
Mackenzie, you were going to say something?
yeah, I was going to let Michael know that the Sunchase Playscape removal was completed and it didn't cost us anything. So
That's right. You told me that. Yes,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a school come in and take it.
Yes. And a lot of the people that live in that neighborhood are very eager to see replacements in, and I understand the Parks Committee is working diligently to do that. Hopefully they're doing that without any criminality.
Well, I tell you, Jana and Mackenzie have come up with a very interesting, I think, unique solution that would be I think would be well received by our community for that space. So
wonderful.
Okay. Anything else?
I believe that's all I have under the financials. Obviously, we have the budget, but if you want to move on and come back to me and come back, I think, to Infomark on the management side, so you can go to 13 or whatever that item you wanted.
Right. That's exactly
no problems
what I'm.
waiting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Yeah.
This is Jimmy. I've been asked to ask where you want the receipt for the paid invoice to go to. Do you want it to go to Michael Luft? Do you want it to go to someone on the board? Or do you want it to go to Bill? Because it will be paid shortly online.
Okay, so can we come back to that? Let's put a pin in that, okay?
Okay.
That's fine. Thank you.
Because what we're going to do is I'm going to jump to agenda item 13 so that we can talk to the Aldridges about their chickens.
Catherine, we've been in contact with them, in conversation with them regarding the complaint on their chickens.
Uh-huh. Are they
And
still
they want to address the board on why they have their chickens. They weren't aware that it was against the rules, and I guess they have a plan. So I'll turn it over to them.
Okay.
So yes, we did our research, and I even got on the MUD district, and nowhere did it state, even prior to us purchasing the chickens, that it said that we couldn't have any type of poultry. So during the pandemic, we bought chickens to help accommodate the lack of being able to get into the grocery stores.
Mr.
We looked into with Travis County, since we're zoned for Travis, and honestly, we looked at it as much as we could to make sure we fell within the guidelines of Travis County, and it was an oversight, I guess, more so on my part, because I made sure with Travis County that we followed every single guideline, had even our coop audited. We spent over $2,000 on this coop. I'm actually a first responder with the COVID pandemic, and I couldn't get groceries anywhere. I treat cancer patients for a living, and personally, not going into any medical details, but I have to live a very extreme, clean, green lifestyle and very organic lifestyle. And I was unable to provide eggs, simple eggs, during this pandemic in the beginning of March. I couldn't get in. I was working at the hospital constantly. I could barely even get into a grocery store, and with that being said, I could not even get eggs.
Ms. Aldridge, this is Louis, Ms. Aldridge. First of all, let me say thank you for what you do. The first responders and the people out there on the front lines are living with great risk, and I appreciate that. My question is, it sounds like you checked a lot of possible sources of rules and regulations. Did you check your deed restrictions that apply to you? That's where you're going to find the problem, I think.
And that's where, I'm just being upfront and honest. I think that was the oversight on my part. I went to the city of Travis County, checking all the ordinances and making sure I fell into the guidelines. So it was, honestly, I'm just being upfront. It was an oversight. I thought I was being thorough, and I did not go there. I thought checking with Travis County. So I'm just being extremely honest. That was my oversight.
Well, I looked on, like I said, the MUD district website, and I figured it'd be pretty, universal that if, we couldn't have chickens, it would be stated on the website.
So, to answer your question, I did not look at the deed. That's just true honesty. I went to Travis County ordinances to see if I could have it, and then proceeded forward. They're not a nuisance to what I'm aware of to any of my neighbors. I think that the one neighbor that's complaining, I've had some issues with harassment he's harassed my child. I have felt very invasive with some of the things he's done, taking pictures of my backyard. I think some of this is done with malice on his behalf, not genuine concern. And I'm just trying to provide a clean lifestyle for my family. I welcome any of you guys to come and look at it. It's a really nice coop. I've had it audited, make sure that everything was in ordinance, but it was my oversight on the deed.
Well, the fact of the matter is, we don't have roosters. They're not out there, rooting and making noises. It's clean, and as she stated before, the neighbor, we had a professional tree service come out and trim and cut down trees, and he still was out here harassing the workers, harassing us, threatening a lawsuit. So back to what she was saying, this is done under malice, not because it's a nuisance. And
they're not free ranging. They're not out. They're not making noises. I'd welcome anyone to come. I was pretty proud of all the hard work I put into it, but I respect the boundaries and I respect any concerns, and I'm happy to address them with you guys.
Well, the fact of the matter is, we bought them for a purpose. They're, to provide food, to provide organic, clean food to the family. So they're not necessarily pets. They're not, they provide a service for us, especially during the pandemic.
that's what started all of this. I couldn't get any eggs. I mean, Sam's actually allowed us first responders to go in from 8 to 10 on Sunday mornings, and everything's ticked over. So it's just been very challenging. But I just wanted to call in and address the situation.
Well, it's not that we're just calling in. I mean, to be honest, we've spent a lot of money, and for you to ask us just to get rid of them, I mean, we invested a lot of money to provide food for our family, and I mean, it's going to basically be a throwaway.
Mr. Aldrich, I appreciate your situation. I don't have any problem with chickens. I grew up raising chickens. I'm from New Orleans, and I had a chicken coop with 30 chickens in my backyard. Here's the problem we have, and that is that when we moved into a neighborhood where we have deed restrictions that we did not write, they were written by the developer. And the developer wrote them in such a way that it's very difficult to change them. If you live in an HOA, if you live in Hunters Glen or in Valenti Hills, the board of directors of the HOA has a great deal of leeway to adjust the deed restrictions. Unfortunately, in Anderson Mill West, the way the deed restrictions are written, number one, it's very difficult to change them. And number two, we are victims in a way of the requirements of the deed restrictions, in that we're not in a position to be able to say, well, we're going to ignore this deed restriction, we're going to ignore that one. What we can do, and we have done in the past, is we have said, okay, we're not going to enforce a deed restriction. But if we go there, we have to do that for everyone. So it's
But if for health reasons, I mean, it kind of trumps the restriction, correct?
I mean, may I ask, do I need to get a physician's notification to address my health issues that I've had previously in the last 4 years of why I'm living such an extreme lifestyle change and I mean, I don't know if I need to, if it's a medical reason. I'm happy to help any way I can, but I'm just being honest.
Ms. Aldridge, the problem we have is that we do not have the authority to change the deed restrictions. We do not have the authority to say, for if you have a doctor's note and so on, that makes it okay. The way the deed restrictions are written, we are obligated to enforce the deed restrictions, although there's a lot of things in there that we don't like and that I don't like. So the problem we have is that all of the very good reasons that you have to have the chickens, I really sympathize with. In order for this to work, we've got to find some way that we can live with the requirements of the deed restrictions and still accommodate you. And that's very difficult. And what we have found in the past is that the limited authority that we have is in two fashions. One is there is a provision of the deed restrictions that is called unsightly, where the Architectural Control Committee has the authority to make interpretations. The chicken thing doesn't fit under that. Some deed restrictions do not allow any leeway, and the chicken one is one of those. The fowl thing is one of those. However, what we have done in the past, for example, we had a situation where the deed restrictions prohibit having motorcycles. And when we had the 2008 economic downturn, we had a lot of people using motorcycles, and they came to us with the request that they would be permitted to have a motorcycle in view. And what we decided to do was not enforce the prohibition on motorcycles. We can't change the prohibition. We can't prevent someone from suing someone else because it's a violation. But what we can do is say, we're not going to enforce the motorcycle provision. But when we do that kind of thing, it has to apply everywhere. So if we wound up having a decision that we were not going to enforce having chickens, we would have to do that for the entire MUD. And what would happen in that case is that I feel that we would have a lot of people that would object to that, and that would present a problem. That doesn't mean we can't explore it.
Right.
There's been a lot of people on Nextdoor and other places talking about having chickens and how they'd like to have chickens. Maybe we've moved to a point where people in the community are ready for that. I don't have a really good feel for that. But what we would be dealing with is if we decide to propose to not enforce against chickens, it would apply to everyone. And then we'd have to see is the neighborhood willing to accept that? Because it would apply to everyone.
Right.
Bill, have I
Well,
missed?
if I refuse to move from the back of the bus, then so be it. I'm willing to, put myself out there.
Well, it doesn't have it. The only thing it has to do with you is that if we decide to go down a road which says, let's talk to the community about allowing chickens under some sort of allowing chickens, it would not be us allowing chickens. It would be us not enforcing against chickens.
Right.
I understand that.
And
If
us
we
as a
decide
community coming together.
Well, from my understanding, the rest of the neighbors didn't have a problem with it. Matter of fact, they wanted to look at our chickens. The kids wanted to come over and play. And it all boils down to that we have a neighbor that is out for us because for whatever reason. I mean,
And may I ask, and you guys might have more information, may I ask, was the complaint of any cackling hens or any disruption with the animals? I mean, may I ask, am I privileged to that information of was it a disruption or a smell or?
It doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with the blanket prohibition of raising chickens. It's a blanket.
Okay. I was just curious if the complaint was specifically regarding.
it's just that we had chickens.
Okay.
So let's imagine we would move forward and say, okay, we're going to try to get the temperature of the neighborhood relative to the willingness to accept chickens. Clearly, your neighbor who's harassing you is not going to go along with it, but we might have a consensus in the community that they would not be uncomfortable if we decide not to enforce chickens. Bill, what am I missing? Does that sound reasonable?
No, it sounds completely reasonable.
Yeah.
But
No,
during
Bill,
this process,
Bill,
I don't want to have to get rid of our chickens.
Yeah.
This is Bill Flickinger. I'm the attorney for the district. Lewis is accurate on the process. In the past, we have made some declarations of non-enforcement when the board finds that property values are not adversely affected. And he is correct. Those are district-wide decisions, and we'd have to put it on a future agenda and consider that. However, the deed restriction committee takes up every individual case on its circumstances and sometimes gives the owners time to rectify the situation. If fines are assessed, they have the authority to waive fines. And so there is a little bit of discretion on as far as the timing of removal. It would be with the board and the DRC. However, permanent acceptance of it would require the process that Lewis described.
Okay,
and that would be my concern, is accessing fees and fines because of that.
Right.
So, no.
We're not interested. Gentlemen, I mean, I don't.
Go ahead.
We're not interested in collecting money. The whole business of fines, we're interested in correcting problems. And if we have a situation here where let's suppose we say, okay, we're going to consult the community. We're going to fashion some way to consult the community. Then I think the deed restriction committee might ask the enforcement process to hold off on enforcement against you while we go through that consultation process. Now, when we start doing that, there are going to be some irascible people in the community, your neighbor among them and others that I know who are female, who are going to come in and start complaining. But I'm prepared to accept and endure the complaints of people while we seek to get some kind of a consensus in the community. And you could help in that, in being the advocates to talk to your neighbors and talk to the people in the community and invite people to come see what you're doing and help explain to them. And you can't walk around.
I can roll with the punches. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, I refuse to move to, from the back of the bus. I don't have a problem. I will be an advocate. I am a true believer in healthy living. And, we all know our foods are being pumped with, hormones and vaccines and all that other stuff. So I'm completely okay with the, in quotations, the harassment or whatever. And I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it harassment, but constantly bitching and complaining to you guys. I mean, I have no problem with that. If I need to be a voice for, backyard, what'd you call it the other day, ma'am? You called it barnyard decor or
Yeah, that's
something
what
like that?
yeah, that's what I said. There's no rule against barnyard landscaping.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be an advocate for it completely. And from my understanding, the other person complaining about it doesn't even live in our neighborhood, doesn't even live close by us. So her dog, and she don't have a dog in the fight, if you ask me.
Well, if she's just complaining like the gentleman just said, that it's just about the deed.
Well, I think that they know each other, and he got her to call in and complain to create more of a number, since he's the only one, really complaining.
I don't want to keep you guys any longer. That was just, I wanted to call in. We wanted to have a voice in this, and I appreciate just any direction that we could take to move forward. I'm really trying. We live an extremely green, clean lifestyle for not only my health reasons, myself personally, but also, what prompted this is I physically cannot get eggs for my family because I'm at the hospital so much and everything has been taken since March. And it was very difficult for me to provide at this time for us, just simple eggs.
From my understanding, we're going to go forward and trying to get them to not enforce it and get a community backing behind
I'm
owning chickens.
I'm totally ready to move forward with that, but I'll kind of follow the guidance of you guys. I know you guys have been through this, so
Can I ask a question? So, what exactly is involved in having had your chicken setup audited? What does that mean?
We had a guy that he's an advocate for residential chickens, and so when we started this process, we bought our coop. So we brought him in to make sure that we had everything that within the rules of Travis County. So proper ventilation, it's shelter, shade.
It has to be so far from a neighboring house. Like, we just had him come in to make sure that we were following all the necessary guidelines. So this right here conversation wouldn't have happened, or we just wanted to make sure we were following everything. But again, I respectfully, honestly, it was my oversight on the.
There's not an oversight committee that comes in. It's just the guy that's an advocate, and he
helped us set everything up. It just.
In my understanding, at one point, you guys were told that we had like 25 chickens. We only have 4 chickens.
There's only 4.
That would be a lot of chickens.
They don't.
We're not some egg laying business and selling them to HEB. Like, we have 4 chickens.
And they're in their run. They're not free ranging around our neighborhood. I have cats running around my house. Lord knows who they are. I just.
Ma'am, she's worried about possums, which aren't carnivores, that have eaten her chickens. So she is, treating them like they're babies, and they're, kept in their chicken run. Now, when we're at home, we'll let them run around, like in the yard, but, our fence is 6 foot tall. We're maintaining and controlling. They're not free ranging.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for how polite and accommodative you've been. And the reason I say that is that we have had in the past people calling in, and they have just been beyond rude, and they guess they're not getting that it's not helping their case. You've been very polite, and I really appreciate that. Louis, I think that we
understand you guys don't create the rules. You're just the messenger, and our fight isn't with you guys, and you're just doing your job.
And I've watched you guys on your YouTube videos, and I have sympathized with you guys and all the things that you guys, I can only imagine, get yelled and screamed at.
It could be a reality show, to be honest. I will admit, I had a bad taste for you guys at first because of the parking enforcement.
We paid our due fine.
And I'm sure you guys might be aware of, because we accrued quite a bit.
I think over $500.
Yeah. I kind of learned a lesson from that. Like, even the people that manage it, at first my encounter with them wasn't the most pleasant, but at the end of the day, you know, after praying about it and just taking counsel from my father and stuff like that, my fight isn't with them. They're just doing their job. And in order to get change, you have to, you know, go to the, what's the saying? You got to go to the face of it, the top dog. And so I understand my issue isn't with you guys, so there's no reason to, you know, have a sharp tongue.
Thank you very much. Well, Louis, I think that what we should do is refer this to the DRC committee for us to come up with a process, and what we're going to want from the Aldridges is some contact information, because we're going to want to have them be involved in, if we're going to have some sort of community, if we're going to sort of take the temperature of the community to find out where we stand on this.
I believe Sage has my email, her email, and our phone number.
Okay.
Yes, Catherine, we do have that. And I also want to add that I'm very appreciative of the Aldridges. They have been very, very easy to work with in this situation. I understand it. This has been a difficult time for everyone, and that they were only trying to provide for their family. But I do appreciate, especially in this difficult time, that they were willing to be patient and work with us and work with the system. And we're trying to do everything we can to help them out here.
Okay.
So any direction we need to go from here.
Feel free to contact us.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll follow your guidance from this point forward.
If it needs to be that I'm the one going from neighbor to neighbor to get some type of polling, you know, with that, you know, without any bias, I'll take a bipartisan poll.
So charming.
Okay. Okay.
We appreciate
I mean,
it.
I would do whatever I need to,
Okay.
even if it's to pass out flyers so they can click on the internet and vote yes or no.
Oh, anonymously, actually, that would be good.
Yeah.
You're definitely not the only ones that want chickens. I can tell you all that, because a lot of us in section 1 and 2 really want chickens, but we can't have them.
I believe it is becoming more popular, and people are understanding that our food is kind of poisoned with.
Well, it's the carcinogenics and the toxins.
Yeah.
I've been forced due to some medical issues, and actually it's what I do. I'm treating breast cancer and brain tumors every single day of my life right in the last 20 years.
Well, it was even like we were talking about the other day, like when I was 12 years old and my sister was a little bit younger, she looked older than me, like she was more developed, and part of that is all the hormones and all that.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
I am
agree.
definitely
Yep.
against that.
Okay.
You're on the outside.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you calling in. And this will be an
Yes.
interesting project to take on in the district.
Let's do it.
Okay, we're ready to move forward.
Louis, you're on mute.
So thank you for coming, and I'm looking forward to you breeding the chicken that can lay colored Easter eggs. That'll really be a hit.
So we got a comedian amongst the group, I see.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mackenzie, I'm going to jump back to you. That's agenda item 7, the manager's report. And you're going to do a screen share.
I am. All right. Let me know when you can see it. And can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Okay. So hopefully that everyone's had a chance to kind of already go over this. As far as the distribution system goes, we are at 115% accounted for. With the collection system, this is the televising. We got our updated reports from wastewater transport, and we will be meeting with her very soon to go over the updated reports along with our lead maintenance tech, Robert. The Parks Committee, M&C Electric is working on getting us a quote for installing fans at Anderson Mill West Pavilion. They actually came out and took a look at this with the maintenance tech Tuesday of last week. Our park plan request for proposal has reached, actually now this number has changed significantly with another 3 companies that have actually reached out to me. So we have a lot of people working on proposals for this. We're pursuing a second quote for the chipped wood refill at the parks. We already have one quote in. We did get our tetherball replacements in for Hatch. We are currently evaluating the warranties for all of the tennis light bulbs. It's a typo on my part. Just to make sure that we aren't going to replace any that are still under warranty where we can send them back to the company and get a replacement done. With that being said, we actually do have several in storage, enough to cover the ones that are currently out. So we are going to discuss this at the next Parks Committee meeting and see how we want to proceed forward with changing just I think it's 2 or 3 that are out. And then the irrigation planter boxes at Lakeline Oaks, we kind of concluded that there seemed to be a little bit of an issue going on there. It just didn't feel wet, both on my part, Catherine's part, Jana's part. We all kind of looked at it ourselves. Sunscapes did come out and let us know that there needed to be a tweak made on the timing and the schedule. So it is getting irrigated properly now. And the flowers actually look really good. I was there 2 days yesterday and they do look very good. Infrastructure Committee met on 7/9. As previously stated, we didn't have a whole lot to report to the board. They discussed some preliminary budget items for the next fiscal year, as well as a few items that we're moving over to the Parks Committee meeting for this month. Solid Waste Committee. So we had a meeting on 6/26 along with Sage Management and Flickinger's office to discuss the issues that we are currently having with waste management, the reports we're getting from Sage, as well as residents, and so on. So with this, we all came out with a little bit more clearer guidelines of how to move forward. I have since then had a meeting with Waste Management, and I have gone over all of the concerns that we brought up in this meeting. And moving forward, I think it's safe to say now that we are all on the same page, and we all have expectations set forth for all of us. So I look forward to seeing how this progresses. We actually had a resident call in yesterday, fairly upset that one of the casters on, I believe, his trash can and recycling can had broken or fallen off, and Waste Management was notified. They attempted to call Waste Management. I'm not entirely sure, but nonetheless, I gave Paul a call and let him know how upset this customer was, and instead of waiting for the next scheduled pickup day, which is kind of the long-standing agreement to replace these carts, they went out today and replaced both of his carts. So he was a very happy camper. Other than that, that's really all we have to report right now. We're going to keep managing them closely and making sure that they're following through with what they are supposed to be following through with. And that being said, we're also going to work on a flyer that will go out to all residents. It'll be put in your bill mailers, and that will give us a little bit more information on things that people don't always think about with their trash. So kind of just a little bit of a refresher. The Records Modernization Committee, we didn't meet, but I did get the iPads in. I actually got them in after writing this, but they came in this past Monday, and as of yesterday, the technology agreement has been signed. So I will be getting those set up in the next week or so and then getting them distributed out. Any questions on the executive summary before I move on? All right. All right, so your billing summary, we're right on track with total number of accounts billed. Our total gallons consumed is still pretty high comparable to last year due to being in a pandemic and people using more water. We've seen this trend for the last several months now. Average water use for accounts billed, we're at 8,054. Total receivables is 245,358. And then this is just a graphical representation of such. We are doing better on our water revenue than we were in June of last year, simply because people are using more than we budgeted for them to use. And then something I wanted to note here is we're seeing a little bit of a better trend with the 30, 60, 90 days than we have in the past. We do have 152 accounts delinquent. We did not mail out tags or hang anybody or disconnect anybody for non-payment. And then your water accountability is right here at 115.
Okay, why are we so high?
So if you look at prior years around this time, what happens in the summertime is it takes a little longer to read the meters. So we're catching more of that overlap with the 100-degree days. We're trying not to push them to finish it as soon as they normally would when they're not dealing with 106 and 107-degree weather. So it takes a little longer, sometimes a half day or a day more to make sure all the meters are read. So it's a little bit of that overlap that we're not used to having, if that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. And if anybody has any questions, let me know. If not, that concludes my report.
Okay, good report, Mackenzie.
Thank you, guys.
Kenzie is on it.
Yes. Okay, agenda item 8, reimbursement of legal fees incurred by Sage in accordance with the resolution. Okay, so this is where we can talk about where we're gonna send the proof of payment. Okay.
I already emailed you, Louise, Michael left, Bill, and myself. So you should have a receipt in your inbox.
Okay. Okay, so at this point, how we're going to do it then is that Louis and I will approve the reimbursement, and then I'm going to have to sneeze here, guys.
Perhaps we might need a motion on the board to authorize us to approve.
It's gonna be a little more complicated than that. What I'd like to do is give me a second to get to the resolution we adopted. I'll try to bring it up in a second here.
Okay.
Isn't that the resolution that's part of agenda item 8?
Yeah, I was gonna screen share it just so we can talk about it. Hold on. All right, so can everyone see that resolution now? That's on screen. Okay, so
there it is. Okay.
Yeah, so we adopted this resolution. It has a bunch of recitals, and we had 2 sections. First section is we encouraged contractors to put in their contract that they could get reimbursed for these costs. And then the second section is if there's not a contract provision. And right now we don't have a contract provision in the SAGE contract. Of course, this resolution applies to all contractors, not SAGE. So we're operating under provision number 2. So we have behind this resolution, we have the legal invoices. There's actually 2. The first invoice is for $2,210. The descriptions clearly indicate they are with regard to the direct request to SAGE for open records, an attempt to make them subject to the open records law. And you can see the hours are stated in the rates.
Yeah, and this again is Linda Fobb, making a direct request to vendors rather than going through the proper process. Okay.
So correct. And if you don't defend this and they're deemed a public entity under the law, then they'd be subject to many more open records requests.
Right.
And then we have a small supplemental invoice for an expense that comes behind this, and it's a total of $15. So that raises the total to $2,225 is what we're considering for reimbursement now that SAGE has paid this invoice and they provided proof to us in email. So what we have to do to reimburse that, we have to make these 3 determinations and have a motion for approval. For reimbursement. So the first is we have to find that the primary purpose of the reimbursement is of benefit to the district. And if you go back into the recitals, we have two benefits for the district cited right in the resolution. The first is that we ensure that the records are provided to the public as provided by the Act, and where appropriate and permitted, the exceptions set out in the Act are protected from disclosure. So that is one of the benefits we're getting from this reimbursement because the attorney is assisting in that. The other one is whereas paragraph that talks about our contractors incurring unexpected substantial expenses that may make it more difficult for the district to find and retain qualified contractors due to the additional expense and responsibility. That is a second benefit stated right in the recitals. So the primary purpose of the reimbursement is a benefit to the district. The second one is that the district ensure the reimbursement serves to accomplish that purpose. And we've looked at the invoice, the attorney worked on those those matters, and you can see from the invoice details that it is serving to accomplish public purpose. And then the third is that the district receives a return benefit from the services for which reimbursement is granted. It's very similar. We are receiving a benefit in that we are fulfilling these stated purposes, which are we are controlling how the dissemination of information occurs, and we're assisting contractors with the additional expense to make it more likely that we'll be able to retain the contractor.
Okay.
And so I'm saying all that for the record. A motion should adopt that analysis and move for approval of reimbursement if that's what the board wants to do.
Okay. So I want to make a motion that we adopt whatever Bill said. I'm just not sure how to phrase it.
Just incorporate my statements into your motion.
Okay.
And to authorize reimbursement of this
Okay.
amount.
Okay.
2225.
Okay, so I move that we approve the reimbursement of $22.25 to Sage Management because they have met the requirements of paragraph of section 2, items A, B, and C of the resolution adopted regarding the reimbursement to vendors.
As detailed by our attorney.
As detailed by our attorney. Okay. How's that sound?
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about this so that we all understand what's going on here. That Linda Fobb, decided that it wasn't enough to attack the MUD using open records requests. She decided to start making open records requests to our vendors. So she, instead of sending her request to the MUD, she sent it directly to our vendor, which required them to do what we pay our attorneys to do, which was to hire an attorney to tell them how they were supposed to respond to it. And that is exactly what we're talking about reimbursing them for. Louis, do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, I think it's just incredibly ironic that Linda creates the problem. She creates the need to spend the money, and then she's all breathless and indignant about the fact that we have to spend the money.
I know. I was just absolutely flabbergasted when she was complaining about $115,000 in open records requests, and they were all her open records requests. Yeah. Okay. So, Art, do you have anything you want to contribute?
No, it's pretty clear.
Okay, Jana.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. How about you, Chris?
Well, I'm wondering, was there any way that Sage could have just blown it off and just ignored her? I mean.
Well, I think the answer to that would be no.
Well, we talked about that. We talked about that, and what Chris, Bill can elaborate. What we're concerned about is that if they just ignore it, then they're subject to action by the Attorney General. And Bill, perhaps you can elaborate on that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Chris, I cannot represent Sage as their attorney, and it was clear, based on our experience to date with open records requests, that a non-response, and I think Andersonville West neighborhood went through this, they did respond and got a ruling. A non-response doesn't solve the problem, but only their attorney could advise them to either not respond or to file something with the Attorney General. I can't tell them to do that. They needed legal advice to do that. And ultimately their attorney elected to file a request or a report with the Attorney General. In my opinion, if I was advising the district, I would say you need to file something with the Attorney General and not wait for something else to happen. Because the next scenario is that you would have a complaint at the Attorney General and you'd be defending a complaint. instead of bringing it to their attention up front and asking for a ruling.
And Jimmy and Diana, you still don't have a ruling from the Attorney General, as I understand. Is that correct?
No.
We do not.
Okay, so it's all pending relative to the Attorney General stating or not that you are not subject to these open records requests. And I'd like to add to for everyone listening is that this is vitally important, because if it turns out that Linda Fobb can inundate stage management, she can do the same thing with everybody else. Gray engineers, waste management, our auditors, everybody.
Infomark, well, I think she's already sent something to Infomark.
If she could spread her misery far and wide instead of just keeping it at home locked down with COVID.
And Luis, we also need to let you all know that we have to keep our attorney, retain our attorney services until we do get a ruling, because we don't know how we're going to have to respond based on what the Attorney General office, comes up with.
Of course.
And and the thing that's really important here is that it's our data. We're talking about being in control of district information. And so it's totally inappropriate for one of our contractors to be responding to open records requests, without us. They need to, all open records requests need to come to the district so that the district can follow the rules about what is appropriately redacted. Our vendors do not know who has signed confidentiality. They are not schooled in what is and what is not an appropriate thing, what is confidential, etc. So this is just one more way for Linda to try to get information because and harass our vendors and waste district funds. That's all I can say. This isn't about not responding. It's about responding appropriately.
I think she has a notepad on her bedside table, and she wakes up in the middle of the night and jots down new ideas to harass us.
Okay, and if you don't have anything else to comment on, I'm going to go ahead and call the question, call the motion. Louis?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes too. Okay.
And Michael, are you still on the call? Michael, will you be able to pay that out of the manager's account? Michael might have left.
Sorry for the delay there. Yeah, I had to find my mouse. It escaped me. So I can unmute. And the answer is yes, I can. So to be clear, I am now authorized to go ahead and prepare a manager's account check in the amount of the reimbursable invoice that we were discussing, right?
Yes.
Good. I will do so, and we will get that signed and out to them as quickly as possible.
Okay. Okay, so now we are going to move to, come on, where is it? I want to, agenda item 9, which is pending open records requests. Hey, does somebody have it handy so they can throw it up onto the screen so we can all see it?
I can do it in a second here.
Okay, because I'm looking at it on another screen, and so we've got 15 open records requests right now, and Linda has already told us that she's planning on issuing more open records requests. So I guess when we get further down into the agenda, we know that $60,000 equals 1 cent in our tax rate. We can start talking about how many pennies how many cents Linda Fobb is going to add to or not allow us to decrease our tax rate. Okay, so the last, these are all here. These are all in chronological order.
reverse chronological order.
Right, well, the newest on top, that's right. So the newest one, electronic copy of,
Complete accounting records for income account 4400.
yeah. let's
Service
see.
penalties from 10/1 through 6/3, including the date of collection and origin of each penalty collected.
Okay.
So I have a question. Under response due, you have an asterisk next to these dates. Bill, what does that mean?
Well, you'll recall we had the virus pandemic closed everything down, and that was in March. So when you look at, for example, number 14, the original response due date was the 30th. So about a week or so before that response date is when everyone closed down. And based on special counsel and the Attorney General's guidance, the time period for responding also stopped at that time. So anything that came in after that time, if you look at the left column, like we have, number 10 came in at that time, the 10 days to respond or to request clarification or provide a cost estimate or to address it with the AG has not begun to run. And last meeting, I thought we were getting closer to better control on the pandemic, but now at least Travis County is getting worse again. I don't think Infomark intends to open an office anytime soon, so we'll continue to consult special counsel, but what this means is that we have no official deadline to respond. That's what the asterisk means. So the response due date is not actually binding, in other words, by law.
Now, this is just what is outstanding, but because there's also been open records requests that have been received and responded to that are not on this list since the last meeting, correct?
Well, it's the last meeting. Last meeting, we had about 5 or so that we had responded to. This meeting, we just have the one attorney invoices that went out right after or during the day of the meeting. So that's the only one since then.
Okay.
Now, let me add for the benefit of the rest of the board, we are actively working with the Open Records Committee, and we've not taken a position that we're not going to fulfill these requests. That's not our position. And we are going to perhaps need a special meeting maybe after next week with the board.
Yeah.
And may need to call an executive session to explore some of the legal aspects of the open records request, primarily focused on an attempt to limit our costs going forward. And that's pretty much all I want to say about it in open session.
Okay.
I have a question, Bill.
Sure.
Perhaps it might be worthwhile for you to elaborate the basis upon which we have authority to hold up this stuff when we're in the pandemic, because what we're hearing at every single meeting, we're hearing the breathless, indignant Linda complaining that we're corrupting criminals because we won't answer her open records request. We have explained this to her, but she won't take no for an answer. She insists that we're acting improperly. Can you please explain how this is proper?
Okay, so there's a prior regulation pre-pandemic that if the administrative office is closed for whatever reason, the dates do not begin to proceed. There's guidance on the Attorney General's site that addresses that specifically. And for example, says just because people are working remotely, that doesn't cause the deadlines to continue. We consulted special counsel on this. They've given the same opinion. I think it's pretty clear. Ms. Fobb did file a complaint with the Attorney General that special counsel responded to. And so we're pretty confident we're within our legal right to proceed this way. But again, we're not obligated to hold up responses, but we're not obligated to meet these deadlines either.
Okay, so I know that Linda Fobb is listening. I would like for her to quit beating this horse and accept the reality that we are acting properly.
We're in the middle of a pandemic and the rules have changed.
Thank you.
Okay. So, agenda item 10, district rate order. I just want to throw it out there that as part of this, of going into the budget cycle, I'm going to want to make some changes to the rate order. I want to incorporate some changes to the rate order. I'll talk about it more when we get down to a further agenda item. Yeah, Louis, you wanted to say something?
I think we some of this stuff we'll take up in the customer care committee meeting.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I think we're going to need Bill to participate at least in part of that meeting, Bill, because we have some concepts to discuss.
Yeah.
That, we need your guidance on.
Okay, so agenda item 11, which is the director's election. So what do you have to share with us about that, Bill?
Okay, I'll try to speed it up a little bit. We're probably going to have items on the election going forward all the way through the election. And tonight what we have is an order calling the director's election. There's a deadline to do this, so we're doing it tonight to meet the deadline. This just, it's very similar to our prior director election orders. We're going to elect 2 directors. It outlines the process. We deal with both counties. It does call for some exhibits. Those exhibits are not ready yet. So what I would be looking for is approval of the order as presented and authorizing me to attach the exhibits when they're ready.
Okay, somebody want to do that?
Yeah, one of us is not, it's not
Yeah,
any.
yeah, okay. So I move for the order calling for the director's elections with the exhibits to be attached when available. How does that work, Bill?
Good, that's good.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do we have any discussion about the about this? I'll go ahead and call the vote. Louis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, so now we've got another one.
Yes, 11A in your packet. This is the election agreement with Travis County, okay, between the district and Travis County. As you know, we're in 2 counties. And so when we conduct an election, we have an election services agreement with each county because it's virtually impossible for us to conduct our own election any longer. We actually in the past did conduct our own elections, but when the specialized machines were required, then it became extremely expensive. So everybody contracts with the counties. And we do this every election cycle. Travis County has changed their agreement a bit. So we have the current agreement in the packet. Basically, you pay your fair share of the cost, and you don't really have any options. You have to have Travis County do it. I think this year, the only change that we noticed was basically they're having a separate equipment charge. Instead of just sharing all the costs together, they're separating the equipment charge. And you'll see that it kind of goes into the next item too. But again, what we're looking for is a motion to approve the election agreement with Travis County as presented so that we can be in good shape to proceed with the election.
Okay, I move that we approve the election agreement with, is it just Travis County only?
Travis County right now. Yes.
For Travis County for the upcoming election.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and call the vote. Louis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, and now we've got another one that's for Williamson County only.
No, it's Travis County again, but Michael, did we approve a deposit check for Travis County?
Yes, that's on the check register. We got your email and I prepared that.
Okay, so this agreement requires a $150 deposit,
Yeah.
non-refundable, that we submit with the contract. So we have the check approved. We'll be doing that with the contract. 11B, the next item, is something different, and this is the separation of the equipment. We have to find that we're going to use a certain type of voting system, and it's described in this resolution, which is 11B. The county is requiring, Travis County again is requiring this, and this is the machine that Travis County uses. It's more of a formality than anything else. Again, we don't really have a choice. We can't dictate the equipment. The Secretary of State does approve a list of electronic equipment that is acceptable in Texas, and this is on that list. So the county's asked us to approve this resolution, and I'd be looking for a motion to approve it as presented.
Okay, so I move that we approve the resolution with Travis County for adopting their equipment for the election.
I'll second it, and I have a question. The way I'm reading this, Bill, it sounds like we're supposed to provide the machine, a machine.
But we can provide it by leasing it or by agreement with the county, which is what we're doing. So we won't.
This says we provide it, then we'll have a separate agreement where we lease it from them, or was that in one of the previous resolutions?
That's the prior agreement we just approved, includes the equipment.
All right.
So.
Yikes. Okay, so any more, so we got a second. Do we have any more discussion? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the vote. Louis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Is that it for?
That's all we have under 11, and
Okay.
right below it's just the Spanish translation because we did both elections.
Great. Okay. Okay.
One quick question for Phil on that check. Did you need that to go to your office, or can I send it to them directly? I didn't think about that.
No, after it's signed, send it to us and we'll include it with the agreement.
Okay, I will do so.
Yeah. Okay. Agenda item 12, reports from the Parks Committee. Okay. Mackenzie, do we have anything that we haven't discussed?
Not for parks.
Okay. Jan, is there anything that you can think of that we haven't discussed?
Nope.
Okay.
Not.
Before we move, perhaps the people who are on the committee here could inform the board about what's going on with the dead trees, because we've got dead trees in several parks that have not been moved. And I think Mackenzie has a list of them. Either she or Cody has, but it's been some time now, and some of them are quite large. At Astor Pond, there's one that's quite large. So how is that going to be handled?
Well, hold on. It's a good thing you brought that up, because we did talk about this we talked about it on in a park committee meeting, but we didn't discuss it in earlier. We have Mackenzie, we've got the bid
proposal.
Yeah, we've got the proposal.
That is strictly for Anderson Mill West. That doesn't include any of the other parks. So that's one thing I wanted to discuss later with you, Catherine, because we had that discussion about making sure we had the funds for now. And one thing I also wanted to do is have Sunscapes go out and do a tree check in all parks for any additional dead ones. And we can compile that and put it together. Now, one thing I will say is, as you know, Catherine and you and I spoke, they had several arborists come out to check the trees in Anderson Mill West. And between the verdicts of many different ones, it wasn't oak wilt, it wasn't heat stress. It was something that had been there for quite a long time before it actually affected the whole tree. And by the time that it did, the tree was already gone.
Okay.
So another thing too we need to consider is when we do put this plan into action and we let them come out and cut, we need to have a choice of where we're going to store the pieces that are salvageable for us to do something within the Parks Committee. We're not entirely sure yet. We haven't ironed that out, but that is something we need to discuss as well.
Okay. So Oh, fart. So I really want to move forward with having the trees removed that have been identified, before the next board meeting. So let's talk about what we've got. We've got a proposal to trim the trees and remove the total dead bodies in Anderson Mill West from Sunscapes. How much was that for?
5,940, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay. And Louis, you're on mute.
Okay, so I have a question. That's for removal, not replacement, correct?
Right, that is just totally removal. And you said that you think that you saw a tree in the Astor Pass Pond?
Correct.
Okay, so let's put that. So what I think what we need to do is
It's huge.
it really.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I think what we need to do, Mackenzie, is we need to definitely have Sunscapes do a tree audit, I guess you could say. But I think that we need to pass a resolution for something not to exceed so that we can get something done before the next board meeting.
We can absolutely do that.
They
Okay.
did a tree audit in early fall. I do remember that. There are 2 trees that are dead in Hatch Pond. They're not the huge ones, of course, but they are
On the sides, right?
Yeah, on the sides.
Yeah. Okay.
Lost.
What was that, Louis?
We just lost Jana.
No, she's still here.
Well,
I was there.
She was in the middle of a sentence. I didn't think you finished the sentence.
Oh, okay. Well, this is okay. I know that we've got money in maintenance somewhere, and we've got money in the still in the parks budget. So what I would suggest we do, what did we say? We were at $5,900. Is that where we're at, Mackenzie?
Yes, the quote was for 5,940.
Okay.
Catherine, what's that going to include? Just replacement or?
No,
or-
this is just to get the dead trees out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a clump, and we've got trees with major branches that have to come down. We've got actually quite a bit of dead tree removal that needs to be done in the Anderson Mill West.
What about Hatch Pond? I took a walk through there. Some of those beautiful trees are really nice, but they need to be trimmed up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's a different project that we're
That's why I was asking. Is that going to include trimming, or is it just tree?
Right now, what we're only talking about is dealing with dead trees.
So let me add, we really have 2 categories of trees here. We have trees that are old trees that have gone bad, including in Sunchase Park and the Astor Pond. But we also have some trees that I'm aware of in Madeline Luke Pond and Sunchase, which are among the trees that we planted during our program.
Right.
Those trees are in spots where there's already drip irrigation and so on. So those would it seems to me to be candidates for replacement because there's already water there for them.
Right. So what I suggest we do is we get our tree audit, identify trees that we've installed that have died, and we can budget to replace those in the next fiscal year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a resolution that we accept a bid to have the trees removed in Anderson Mill Park and Astor Pass Pond, not to exceed $8,500, so that we can get these dead trees out of our parks.
What parks are you referring to? Repeat that.
It's right now we know, actually it's any park that's got a dead tree. That's what I'm really concerned about. But we know that we have basically $6,000 worth of tree removal expenses to deal with the numerous dead trees that are in the Anderson Mill West Park. And I figured, well, let's just give myself $2,500 to deal with the one or twosies that are in the other parks that we've got.
And I think Mackenzie has a pretty good list of at least the ones in Madeline Loop and Sunchase also.
Right.
And Art, did you say you saw some? And also, I gave Mackenzie the one on Astor Pond. And Art, did you say you saw some dead trees in?
No, they weren't dead trees. They were just dead limbs on trees.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and that's, okay, dead limbs on trees, because we've got that going on in Anderson Mill also, and that's part of what that $5,900, yeah.
And I would think cash would qualify.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so does everybody, can I get a second for my solution? Okay, so do we have any discussion about this? Because you know, things got lost in the midst of the pandemic. We talked about this probably in March, and then, you know, it got dropped. Okay.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out, we've had a very civil conversation, very nice discussion about the trees. There was no breathlessness. There was no allegations of corruption or criminality, as there was earlier tonight when Linda spoke about the same subject. She just cannot help herself.
Okay, I'm going to call the vote. Okay, Louis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
I vote yes too. Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we need to talk about from the Parks Committee? Don't think so. Agenda item 13, report from the Deed Restriction Committee. Okay, Jimmy and Diana, is there anything that we need to talk about that we haven't discussed?
I wanted to respond to B on the district rules governing violations of deed restrictions, because at Monday's meeting, there was a commentary made regarding the blocking of the sidewalks. And I just wanted to remind everyone that we are in pandemic protocol. There was a conversation made between Jimmy and a resident regarding the blocking of the sidewalks. It did occur. It was between two people, not the third person that made the commentary. So anything that was reported was a third-hand account. What was left out of that commentary was that Jimmy told the resident that at this time, we are not enforcing calling the police for blocking the sidewalk because we are in pandemic protocol. And even once we get out of pandemic protocol, there are rules that we do follow, and we'd rather work with the residents and let them know about the rules and follow the friendlies, pre-fine, fine notices before, follow the process before calling the police on anyone. We don't have that many reports for blocking of the sidewalk. Usually those come in from outside people that are driving around and call it in. So I just wanted to make sure that the residents are aware that we're not calling the police on anyone if their car is too far back in their driveway.
Okay.
Let me add that we are operating on the basis now of having Jimmy Sagnas really interact with people. And there's an awful lot of things that he deals with that never get beyond conversation, including violations of actual deed restrictions. And that has caused us to be in a situation where the community appreciates what he does. So the fact that we have the authority at some point in the future when we get out of this pandemic protocol, the fact that we have the authority to call the police, I would imagine that what's going to happen is that won't happen. What will happen is that Jimmy will work with these people and get them to agree to move their cars and not block the sidewalk. And to suggest that we're going to have the police coming down on the neighborhood is just way, way, way overreacting. But we have people who love to overreact.
Okay, Bill, do you have anything to add agenda item 13E, the lawsuits that we have pending?
Nothing new since Monday.
Okay. Okay. Agenda item 14, report from the investment committee. Do we have anything to discuss?
I don't have anything. Chris, do you?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Agenda item 15, report from the audit committee. It looks like we have an engagement letter for our auditors.
Yeah, 15A is the engagement letter. I think the audit committee has looked at it. The letter's pretty much the same as we get every year, and actually the price did not change this year. It's $16,000, which is the same as last year. But I'd be looking to the audit committee to comment on it before we consider it.
I don't have any comment. Chris, do you?
I don't have any comments. It looks just like last year's.
Okay.
So, Chris, we're in agreement that we recommend adoption, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we would just need a motion.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Okay. I make a motion we accept the auditor's proposal for $15,000 to perform the annual audit.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote. Louis,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
Jana.
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay. Agenda item 16, report from the Bills and Invoices Committee. Do we
I
have
have
anything?
How about you, Jana?
Okay, so we have a review of payments. We've already done the review of the current not to exceeds during Michael's financial report.
Correct.
16B, amendment to the Code of Ethics. Do we have something here, Bill?
No, we don't have anything. The focus is on the reimbursement portion of that policy, and I just haven't met with bills and invoices. I guess who's on that committee? Art, are you on that committee? Bills and invoices.
Bill and Jana, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, while we're talking about reimbursement and travel, why don't I bring this issue up and then we talk about what we want to do. Last February, before the pandemic got bad, or we knew how bad it was going to be, I booked a condo for the case conference, which was eventually canceled. I paid a deposit, which I was reimbursed, and then I canceled the reservation, and I got dinged with a $50 cancellation fee, even though I canceled it, 65 days before the conference or something like that. So I need to reimburse the deposit, but the question I have is, do I reimburse what I receive back, or do I reimburse the full amount? Who's going to eat the $50 cancellation fee for the pandemic?
That's a Bill question.
Yeah, so you got the money
Yeah.
prior to making the reservation?
Yeah, I got, they just credited my credit card, because I used a credit card to make the reservation, and then they charged me a $50 cancellation fee.
Okay, so you used your credit card and then you got reimbursed from the district.
Yes.
Okay, and then you had to cancel, and now you're in a position you're going to have to reimburse the district.
Yeah, I have to reimburse, but who gets to eat the $50? Me or the MUD?
Well, in my opinion, the cancellation fee is part of the expense you incurred.
Okay.
It's part of district business. It wasn't your fault you had to cancel it, obviously, but it's still district business. So the reimbursement from you to the district should be the amount minus the cancellation fee. And you just need to document that, to submit it to Infomark. Okay.
So, well, let's talk about this. And is everybody in agreement that this is an appropriate process?
So the reimbursement includes a cancellation fee?
Well, no. So let's just make it easy. So I paid $500, for the reservation, and I got reimbursed the $500. But when I canceled, they only gave me $450 back. So I'm asking if I pay the $450 back and then document that I had the cancellation fee for $50. Is everybody okay with that?
It's an expense that
Okay.
you have no control over.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
good way.
after you submit it, it will go, it'll come up for review, obviously.
Okay. Well, that's a good way.
Yeah.
No, I'm not submitting. I'm giving you the money.
Right. No, but you're gonna submit the money with the paperwork.
Yes. Okay. So that's what I'll do then. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we all understood what the process was. Okay, that was the audit bills and invoice. Okay, so let's talk about report from the budget committee. So here we're going to have the proposal for the budget for 2020.
Yes. So, am I still sharing my screen?
No, you're not.
Oh, okay, good. Because it was green. I was like, wait. Okay, there we go. I believe I have found the version of the budget that I emailed to you shortly before the meeting, and I apologize. I just, this is a big process that Lisa uses. She was very detailed, uses a lot of historical data. And so I had to, figure out how she was doing it, work through her spreadsheet, and then add the additional year's data. So that was not as swift a process as I hoped that it would be. Also, at my workplace, I have been the king of training meetings. I'm learning new software, so I got stuck in several long meetings, and that's not your problem, but that was part of the issue. Okay, so you are seeing the first page of the budget, right? In my share?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just walk what the columns look like. The leftmost column shows what your actuals were through June, plus my best guess about what's going to happen in the rest of the fiscal year. And that's based either on what we're trending this year, or I'm using what budget we've got. I'm making line by line. I walk through and made my best determination about how I thought each one of these lines would end up. On some of them, I was exceptionally conservative, and I'll kind of point some of those out, particularly on some of your bigger ticket items, where I just kind of assumed that you would go ahead and complete the projects for this version of the budget, hoping to get your feedback saying, no, we're not going to do that this year, or, oh, absolutely, or we're going to do it for this number, not that number. So that'll be part of this process. The other thing about this is we're not approving the budget here. This is just the first draft. So really what I want to present to you is what it looks like. And then, show you enough of it so that you can get me all the feedback that I need, things that you know from your committee, from personal experience, things that you eyeballed that you see just look wrong that I missed. And then so I can come back with a much more accurate second draft for the August board meeting, where you'll at least set a notional tax rate. You won't approve your tax rate, but you would have to set one for publication, the highest rate that you would eventually approve the next month. And then in September, you approve the tax rate and the budget itself. So we're 2 months away from that, but that's really close. So in terms of the revenues here, you'll see that it's very similar. Okay, so the first column was showing where I'm guessing we'll end the year. The orange column is what your present budget is for this fiscal year. The next column shows the variance between those two, how far off you're likely to end. And then the blue column is my first run at what the budget number should be. And then the 4 following columns are so that we kind of have a 5-year plan, so you can kind of look out ahead and sketch out where maybe some of your bigger ticket items and projects you might stick in, but also seeing what kind of predictable inflation might do to the district.
Okay.
So,
Hey, Michael.
Yes.
When's the budget committee going to meet?
That's something that we need to discuss with Mackenzie and set a date. I will try to be as flexible as possible.
Well, tomorrow's the deadline for everybody to submit their projects, right?
Correct. That
16th.
is, tomorrow is the deadline for the wish lists, and then next week we will sit down with the budget committee to go over what I have gotten in as far as wish lists from the subcommittees, so that we can build the budget off of that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So the first page is.
Wow. And obviously I see something that's wrong already on the recycle revenue. I had no intention to have anything other than 0 in recycle revenue for the new budget, and somehow a number got there. So it's drawing from the wrong field. You've got $16 so far this year. I figured that's not worth budgeting at all. If we get anything we get is a freebie, but I will have it in the budget as an item. Because we do expect to see some activity on it, but that's way too low a number to budget. So I'll fix that.
Michael, can I make a recommendation?
Yes.
Since the budget is so in a draft format and there's more items that need to be included,
right?
Would we need to take this to the committee for review prior to reviewing at the full board?
Yes, but I just want to kind of walk the board down to see, this very first rough and dirty draft, kind of, that ballpark, that 10,000 feet, a look at it. I didn't really expect us to go through this line for line, and I really hope that we don't. But because I don't think that's, as you pointed out, there's a lot of input that needs to be put into this before this becomes a realistic budget. But with that aside, it's worth noting about where you're running. And so let's kind of get down that. You'll see that, an increase in expenses, particularly across the parks, as I've gone back and actualized, budgeted the changes that we saw this fiscal year. And we have a lot of the projects here. But moving on, let's get down to, and then the system maintenance. So getting to the bottom line, and actually I guess that was there. So let's roll back to that. So the bottom line, this fiscal year budget, you were projecting a deficit of 428.8. And so on this first draft, I'm at 440. And so that's worse, and there are a lot of reasons for that. And when we get down to the tax section, I'll show you the most important one. But what this is projecting is that I'm projecting that you're going to end up over 250 better than that 428 budget. And that's based on, where I think we're at. And the good chance that you'll end up a lot better than that if a lot of these big ticket items that you haven't done anything on, you don't do a lot on by September 30th. So let's get to the tax section. This is the most conservative piece of this. Your net certified AV last year was, 619 million, and we're just assuming exactly the same amount for the purposes of this budget until we get the certified AV next month. It's one of the reasons, doing this budget in July until we have the August numbers, that's the most important. The biggest piece of your budget is the certified AV, so that you can figure out what tax rate you need and can charge to offset your budget, and whether you can lower your taxes. All of those elements, we can't predict any of that until we get that AV.
Do you have an estimate of when we'll receive that?
Next month. Within the next few weeks, early in August, I think the deadline for them is the counties is about August 15th, but some years they can get it to us sooner than that, and at the end of July. So it depends on the county, depends on their process. Of course, again, that's a little wishful thinking. COVID, God knows how that's going to affect this year.
Michael,
yes.
There's a number that they've already published prior to protests that'll give you an idea, because in a lot of sections, values went down, and it's going to be significant. I mean, we're talking 10%.
Interesting, because I had not heard that on the districts that I have seen preliminary numbers. I haven't seen any reductions, but
have I haven't seen any reductions.
I talked to lots of people in Anderson Mill West that their property values went down. So,
Well,
but
okay.
you can get those numbers before protest right now if you really want to see. And that's usually what we had when we started that first committee meeting, is just get that pre-protest number, and then
Right,
you can kind of look.
I'll get those. So the
Okay.
pre-protest numbers, I'll get those for you.
We got that in the mail. I think everybody got that in the mail for their house.
That's what
if you're talking about what I think you're talking about, yeah, I always take those with a grain of salt because there's substantial variance between that and then the certified number. I mean, substantial, but it's a good point. It's a better talking point than using the prior year's number. So I'll agree with that. This is just traditionally how we've done it before we've gotten the number, is to use the prior year's number, because that is the most conservative in most cases, unless I've only had one district across all the years that actually had a reduction from year to year, and it was minimal. And, they got it back pretty quickly after that. But, that definitely affects all of this. But the main thing I wanted to point out on this page is that we're taking this assumption that your AV is flat and then stays flat for the foreseeable future. You'll see that the projected ending balance over in the left column is 2.279 that you'll end this fiscal year at. And then if you took that deficit of 440, that puts you at 1.8 some. Well, below that in the boxed area, you'll see that the 6-month reserve that you want is 2.1. So you're well shallow on that, given this exceptionally conservative assumption. And then it gets worse in the next year. The deficit's smaller, but you're now almost 400,000 below. But then it immediately begins picking back up, and you're above the 6-month reserve by the end of the 5-year plan. So this is saying even in a very exceptionally conservative case, you would end up being back above your reserve. And I expect when we build the actual budget that you won't be anywhere near this negative, but that's, that is important to know, that you have a plan. If you are year to year running a budget deficit, it's because you are doing things that need to be done, and then that you have a plan to get back to the reserve that you want to be at.
And Michael,
Michael, I do want to mention, this is Christy from Infomark. Great work on putting a draft budget together, and then a reminder for the board that your financial advisor, Chris Lane,
yes,
will submit to you prior to coming up with the tax rate and assist with the tax rate, all the preliminary, the assessed values, and she'll have a recommendation for us as well.
Right, and this incorporates what she, her 5-year plan last year, but obviously, she'll have new, more accurate numbers, and so the numbers here will change on the debt service side. They might get better. It depends on how things work out, but and so that's, again, it's too early to really budget this, but I want to show you this piece because it's really the center of what your budget is going to end up revolving around.
Michael,
So,
question,
yes.
Mike. We have some expenses that we are undertaking that would be reimbursed should we go forward with the bond issue. And
Yes.
We have dipped below our reserve in order to do that. How are you handling that? Are you assuming we will get it, or are you just ignoring it?
In this draft, I'm assuming I'm ignoring it. That's how conservative this draft is.
Okay.
So
Okay.
until that becomes a real thing, this particular draft of the budget doesn't include it. Now, Chris Lane, when she gets involved in the process next month when we have the real numbers, we may be singing a completely different tune, that she might now be able to give us guidance on how to include that in the budget. But at this point, it's not included.
Well,
So,
I'd like to see, even if we don't take it into account in the budget, I'd like to see some kind of a note or something so that we could see what the running value is.
okay. And then moving on, part of the work that Lisa puts in is tracking historical revenue and expense calculations on the water side. And the reason that she does that is that so she can show, well, partially to, help the budgeting, but also because she can show this really cool graph. And this shows month by month water sales across a 10-year period. And one of the things it shows, generally speaking, that the total amount of water that you sold has declined over the years, though this year you've rebounded a bit. And then also you see the seasonality that water sales are very low during the winter, and then jump through the roof as we go through this summer into September. So, and then this is the same chart, but now just looking at each year, and you can see that it declined, a slight rebound, and then dropping off. The most recent year is, of course, only 9 months, though. So, that's, if I prorated that, it would be pretty equivalent to the prior year. And one of the reasons that water sales declined over time is that people have become much more cognizant of conservation. So, and again, more data about how the calculations, how we're going to project and budget the revenue. And so these pieces are all in. And then this is the detail walking through, and obviously I'll need Christy to walk through and bless these numbers again in terms of what kind of maintenance we're doing across the district, and what we think might need to pop in every few years. I updated based on what was in the prior year, but obviously if things have changed, big sections of this need to change. And as pointed out, as we talked about earlier when I was presenting the financials, on a lot of these GL codes, we have come in well under budget. And so there's some question about whether we've got some items in there that maybe can move out or shave. But want to be careful about jumping to that conclusion based on 1 year. Same thing for the various maintenance cap items for the parks. And again, I'm not expecting you to, this has been sent to you. You can review this at your leisure. This page is showing some of the projects, the plans, capital projects. And again, I move things forward a year. Obviously, you'll have rethought a lot of this, and you'll know things that you need to do. But that's what I just followed what it was before and moved it forward. This page is the same thing for the parks, except that I noticed that Lisa didn't actually have a column for the dollar totals for this year. And I know that a lot of these projects are done or not going to do them. They still have, I just left in the notes that were there before for Tobin to get an estimate. But obviously, this is the kind of data that I'll be needing feedback from the Parks Committee and the board members of what they know and what they want. And so that's the quick run through of how the budget format is set up and the kind of data that's flowing through it. And so, that's really all I wanted to accomplish here is to show you that. And then, everybody get that information and start so that we can turn this into a real budget instead of, the sketch and outline of a budget. So,
Mike, you said questions? You emailed this to us?
Yeah. Well, actually, I sent it to, I believe that Lee sent it to everybody.
Yes.
Did?
It was also an attachment in the stuff that Bill Flicker just sent.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I sent it to Lee. She sent it to Bill. And yeah.
We got it twice. We got it from Lee, and then we got it as the attachment that Flicker just put out. Could you
Correct. And because it's part of the packet, it's also on the website too.
Yep.
And Michael, could you go take us back to page 4? I have a question.
Yes. Let's see if I can do it the easy way. There we go.
Okay, so on page 4, you have item 6001, which is the meter replacement program cap. Let's see, that's not the one I'm looking
Yeah, I'm on the wrong page, or I'm on the wrong section of that page. Here we go. Yeah, here we go, 6001. The meter replacement program.
Page 4, we want. which is projects. CIP proposed projects. It's item 9250, meter replacement.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that one. Right.
Yeah.
That's the 250,000 in meters themselves, I believe. That's what was on the, and that's what's reimbursable by bond according to the notes that Lisa had on it, or that's part of the plan.
Yes. We're spending money now for meters that fits into the normal replacement program, but we're using these meters. My question is on this meter replacement, 250,000 is going to go on the bond issue. We've had our lovely Linda Fabre has been just vociferous about our obligation to take bids and on the work we're doing now, and then we have this work going forward. Bill, can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, as far as the legal opinion, I'd prefer not to do it in open session, but the money in the budget has not all been spent. We've been spending it in increments. And I would remind everyone that no bonds have been approved. All we approved was a resolution to allow us to include up to $250,000 for meters in the bond resolution, if we approve bonds.
Okay, so that's for the bond issue. Now, for the normal meter replacement, we're spending about $40,000 or $50,000.
Right. The budget has 50,000 a year.
So my question would apply there, because we're getting allegations that we're breaking the law because we're not taking bids for those meters. Can you reflect on that?
Yeah. So in the open session, I'll say that we are not violating the law, that we're complying with the Texas Water Code as a MUD. But the details of that opinion, I would like to do either in executive session or privately with the board as legal advice.
Thank you.
Okay, so is there anything else that we need to discuss about our preliminary budget?
No.
Okay. So if we don't have anything else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to agenda item 18, which is report from the Customer Care Committee. Okay, so Mackenzie, I'm going to bring you back up again. I asked Mackenzie to give me a high-level report on where we were on people who were not paying their water bills. We've noticed, we saw at the during one of the reports that we have something like 153 delinquencies. What I'm really concerned about is, do we have some exceptional delinquencies? And what we have is we have one member who owes over $2,200. Am I saying that correct, Mackenzie?
Correct. The amount is $2,301.33.
Okay, and on top of that, this member is using an average of over 40,000 gallons a month right now. And
Comparable to their previous average, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Catherine, but comparable to their previous average, it's more than doubled.
Okay, so for sure you're going to go check to see if we've got a leak in place.
Correct. We will be doing a leak check tomorrow just to make sure that that is not the problem. And
I just wanted to say, just to give you an idea, my current rolling 12-month usage is 32,000 gallons for the last 12 months. So they're using more water in a month than I use in 12 months. Well, so this is what I wanted to talk to you, Bill and Christy, is we've got a situation where somebody is seriously in arrears, and when you don't pay your water bill, what you're doing is you're asking your neighbors to pay for your water when you don't. And in that situation, I think you have an obligation not to waste it. And 40,000 gallons a month is, I think, severe usage. So are we in a position to put a governor on their water meters so that they can't run their irrigation system?
I think the short answer is no.
Okay.
We've not adopted any policy like that.
And that's where the rate order would come in. Am I saying that correctly?
Potentially our rules and regulations. We've never really dealt with anything quite like that. And I don't know if Christy can comment whether that equipment's actually available.
I can say it's not.
Okay.
One thing that we can look at, Catherine, that has been discussed at some of the other districts, as we do come out of COVID and some people are way past due on their water bills, is putting into play, which you guys already have a policy on, is a payment program to where they have to pay, over 3 months or 6 months what they're past due, plus what their current is. And at some point, we're going to need to get to that conversation and how we deal with some of these accounts that are far delinquent when we do start coming out of the COVID situation.
Let me add that we have an emergency order in place from when this all started, our first Zoom meeting. It gives Catherine authorization to approve payment plans. So it is important. You have a lot more delinquent accounts than other districts I've seen. They have a sprinkling of them. And what they've tried to do is reach out to those people and encourage them to respond and get on a payment plan with the indication that at some point the board's going to lift the moratorium and they're going to have to catch up. So you, Catherine, could consider those individually and approve them, even if they're longer payment plans than usual.
That's great. And, that is one of the arrows in my quiver. My concern is, what are we going to do about somebody who hasn't paid their water bill since, January, and they owe $2,300 and they're using an excessive amount of water. So what you're saying is we don't have any way, any tools available to us to do something other than sending them a letter that says, please stop using 40,000 gallons.
Perhaps something, are you familiar with this particular house? Have you walked by it?
Nope, I haven't.
Okay. So usually if you're irrigating that much, this would be quite a green, lush yard. So it's probably more likely that it's some sort of leak either.
That's
in
what I'm hoping, I'm hoping it's a leak, but that doesn't solve the problem. But I'm hoping that,
Maybe
it's a leak.
Right. So definitely tomorrow we'll go by and visit we'll verify that there's not a leak there. We'll also have a conversation with this resident to let them know where they're at as far as their usage and see if we can't work out a payment plan with them on their past due. If you're okay with that, Catherine, and see if we can come up with a compromise.
Yes,
Christy,
definitely.
Hasn't any flag been raised? I mean, have these people approached any of you all and said, hey, our water bill is really high? I can't understand why they wouldn't notice that.
No, so this will be the conversation that we'll have with them tomorrow.
Wow.
Maybe
if there's not
a pool or something.
If they do have an irrigation system, it could be that they have a defect in their system that when it comes on, that it leaks a lot of water or it doesn't shut off properly. So that's another, or I don't know if they have a water feature or a pool or a fountain or whatever they have, but all these things can result in a very high usage. And if the owner's not paying attention to their bills very closely, they might not even notice it.
Yeah. So we just have this one outlier. Am I correct, Mackenzie?
That's correct. All of the others that are on our delinquent list that we pulled that have a significant amount have at least made a payment since March and are doing what they can to pay their bills. And there are several who have actually significantly decreased their usage as well. So, I mean, they're doing what they can to conserve, but only paying for what they can afford right now. But that is our only outlier. That is the only one that more than doubled, and even their normal usage is fairly high. So it definitely warrants checking out to make sure there are not any leaks. I'm wondering truly if they have even looked at their bill, because it has been so long since they have submitted a payment. So
Okay, well, we'll talk about this next week or shortly after you find out what's going on. But okay, so this is an important thing to understand then, is that we don't have, normally in a situation like this, service just gets turned off for non-payment, but we're in this, pandemic protocol situation where we're not turning water off. So we need to have some other solutions, to help people realize that, this is not a situation that it can go on forever. So, okay. Okay, agenda item 19, video recording of the board meetings by the district. Do we have anything to discuss about that?
As far as I know, when we get the recording, we send it to Touchstone. They process it and get on the website. So as far as I know, it's working out fine.
Okay. Agenda item 20, report from the Information Management Committee. Jana, what's going on?
We met with Touchstone today. They are finishing up some touches on the website, and the Facebook page is looking really great as well. It should be ready to go shortly. Lewis, what else do you have to add to that?
I think that pretty well covers it. It's looking really good. I think everybody's going to be impressed. I think we're hoping to do a dog and pony show at the special meeting we're going to have on budget later this month.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, and do we have a communications policy, Bill?
Unfortunately, not yet. I'm still working on it.
Okay. Okay, and do we have to do anything about additional services by Touchstone, or is that just an agenda item that can go away?
Well, it can go away. I don't think there's any pending. We've approved all their proposals.
That's what I thought, because I remember signing them yesterday. Okay. Agenda item 21, report from the Infrastructure Committee. Do we have anything to discuss? No.
I don't. I can't think of anything. Lewis,
Okay. He's walked away.
I had to unmute so I could talk. No, I think we've covered whatever we have to cover in various ways.
Bill, where are we with the contract with, what was it, Williamson County? Or was it Travis County, where we got to 99% there and then we had to start over again?
That's number 28.
Oh, is that okay? I'll just jump to there then. Okay. Number 22, report from the Management Committee.
Well, where are we on the agreement, Bill? Your agreement with you all for the rate increase?
Yeah, I have that. It's number 26 on the agenda.
Okay.
If you want to go in order, we can talk about it when we get there.
Yeah, we'll go. So we'll talk about that under another agenda item. Anything else from the Management Committee?
No.
Okay.
Well,
so,
we talked about the waste management already, so.
Right, agenda item 23, waste management or solid waste, we've already talked about it. Okay, agenda item 20.
Hold on one second. Did we talk about the summer cleanup on Saturday?
Yeah, it's happening this Saturday, and it's do we have a sign out or something like that?
The mobile sign was put out on Monday, and the flyer has been posted to the website, I believe, since Monday or prior to Monday. So,
okay.
And we have people scheduled with Infomark to be out there to make sure nobody's putting things in the dumpster that they are not allowed to, and just kind of monitoring. And Waste Management is going to schedule when to come and switch the dumpster out. So all those stars have aligned.
Okay. Okay, agenda item 24, report from the Records Monitorization Committee. I think we've talked about this. 24B, additional contract with Infomark for employees. Is that something that we need to discuss?
Nope, not at the moment.
24C, procedures for digitalizing district records. Do we have anything to discuss there? I think not. Okay, agenda item 25, service provider vendor evaluations. Where are we on that?
So I have begun with waste management and rolling through that one. My next one is going to be Sunscapes.
Okay.
So just taking my time to make sure we have all, like, we're both understanding everything, which is kind of how we approached waste management. We had a meeting, we sat down, we discussed from Mark Sage and Flickinger's office what expectations we needed to make sure we could put in place without violating the contract, and making sure that they're also delivering upon their end of the bargain with contract in respect to that. And I've already begun reviewing some of Sunscapes, and I've actually communicated some of the things that I've already seen deficiencies on with Scott, and they have agreed to take care of it immediately. So I don't think that it'll be too long before we'll have a sit down and we'll talk about that one, and then just kind of roll through them as time goes on.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 26, legal services agreement with Willett and Flickinger. Okay, Bill.
Yeah, so you recall last meeting, I requested that our firm be evaluated, indicated we would be submitting a revised engagement letter, that we would be increasing our rates. And I did submit it to management committee. I think they had a little time to look at, but maybe not enough. I would like to, I'll bring it up on the screen in a minute, but I would like to offer just a little bit of information, even though it's late. We were engaged as general counsel with the district back in October 2000. So it's been nearly 20 years we've worked for the district. We were very pleased to get the assignment. Frankly, when we got hired, we thought you would be annexed by the city of Cedar Park within 3 years. And so we were glad to have the account. We didn't really expect it to go on forever. Well, now it's been 20 years. Our original rate when we started out, well, the original agreement in October was we would perform legal services for the rates that we charge our clients from time to time. So the original rates back then, 20 years ago, my rate was $175 an hour, and our legal assistants were $60 an hour. And that was a rate I chose to make it very reasonable to the district. Those were the most reasonable rates we had. The agreement back then said that as time goes on, we can change those rates to our ongoing rates. And I have over the years, I've done that. But I've always given a lot of space between the increases, a number of years, in some cases, maybe too many years. And then I would give the board notice we're going to change the rates. At this time, I presented an amended engagement letter because in 2000, we were a general partnership, Willett and Flickinger. Mike Willett, as you probably recall, passed away in May of 2016. And before he passed away, we converted the firm from a general partnership to a PLLC, and I took over ownership of it. And when that happened, it was not necessary for us to change our engagement letter, but this new letter that I'll pull up in a second does have our new firm name on it. Let me
down, put my volume up.
Didn't they do it? Put it up.
Can you mute them? There we go. Yeah.
So this is the proposed engagement letter. You'll see it has the PLLC on our current address. It is an agreement that you can terminate at any time. All we ask is you pay us for what we did. So this is not a long-term commitment. If you decide you wanted to have another general counsel, you just let us know and you can do it. We also reserve the right, to terminate our services at any time. But I'll tell you right now, that's not very likely. So the new rates that I'm proposing as far as starting on work on August 1 are $325 an hour for attorneys and $115 an hour for legal assistants, which is the same rate we've been charging our other districts for the last 6 years. And so I deferred increasing your rate for quite a while, and I really can't do that any longer. I think you'll find upon investigation, these rates are still reasonable for attorneys that represent political subdivisions. And that's pretty much just what the agreement is. I don't know if the management company has any other comments or if you want any other information from me. but I did feel it's necessary to bring this to the board.
Okay.
I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, Christy, I think that, or Mackenzie, didn't you do some analysis on comparing these rates to some of the other rates that that you're dealing with?
That's correct. So the management committee and myself met last Thursday afternoon, and we discussed and went over the rates. And I think both Chris and Art are going to have their own 2 cents to chip in here. But from our end, just to help the committee understand, I did reach out to Michael Luft, your accountant, just to see if he could give me a general roundabout of where Bill's rates were and comparable to several other attorneys that we work with for other districts. And we can confidently say that the legal assistance rate is significantly lower than we are used to seeing in almost any other contract. And his attorney's fee is pretty much right on par with most others. So this is nothing extraordinary or out of the ordinary as far as comparable costs to other attorneys that we are used to seeing. Art and Chris, do you guys want to chip in at all?
No, I share your sentiment on that. We had Michael and Mackenzie do research on that and benchmark some of the other firms. I think the legal assistance is very fair. And as far as the legal fees are per hour, I think they're comparable to what other MUD are paying. So, Chris, what do you think?
Well, I thought we were a little concerned that the legal assistant fees went up 25%.
We were, but I mean, they're on par with everybody else.
And just to chip in, since I did some of the research, just to on that particular point, the legal assistant rate, despite jumping so much, was low compared to comparable firms. And given the volume that legal assistants do, that Bill delegates to them, the weighting of that's relatively high compared to other districts. So that really is a cost benefit for the district.
Okay, well, when we met, we didn't have that information, Michael. That's the first. All we had was the 25% increase. So this is new.
Sorry, I didn't pass that analysis on to Mackenzie. That was something I did in my head, and I apologize for not informing her properly.
That's okay.
Okay.
No, I don't have anything else.
So do we have to do anything, Bill? Do we need to pass a resolution?
If the committee is comfortable in making a recommendation, I would say that I need a motion to approve the engagement letter as presented.
I think
Chris, you want to do that?
Art, are you ready to make a recommendation?
I'll make the recommendation that we, give me the words again, Bill.
Approve the engagement letter as presented.
Improve the engagement letter as presented with the rates for both the legal fees and the legal assistant. Is that what it was?
Yes.
You want a second, Chris?
I'll second it.
Okay. So do we have any, Jana, did you have anything that you wanted to contribute? Lewis, are you on the line?
I am. I have to mute my microphone because my dog is barking.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So you didn't have anything you wanted to add, Lewis?
No.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and call the vote then. Chris?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Agenda item 27, traffic hazards in the districts. Do we have anything to discuss?
No.
Agenda item 28, agreements with Williamson and Travis counties for solar signs.
Right.
Okay.
So this is the one you were referencing. That's with
Yeah.
Travis County. We went in a big giant circle. Right till the last time we got a new staff person, started reading the statute and rules, said, can't do a license agreement, you have to do an interlocal agreement. But when that decision went up to the county attorney, they said, that's not correct. You can do a license agreement. They prefer a license agreement. So we've completed the license agreement to have the solar signs where they're supposed to be. It's pending approval of the county attorney. As soon as they do, I'll get you to sign it. Catherine, I don't think it requires commissioner's court approval. And we can go back later and amend the locations of the solar signs if we want, with just by amending the exhibit. So I think we're in good shape, and we'll probably have something for you to sign pretty soon.
Yay. Oh my God.
That's wonderful. We're finally going to get those signs up.
Yeah, it'll be soon.
Okay. Okay. Agenda item 29.
Yeah, now 29 is a little different, and this is really, this is coming out of the committee, and I put it on the agenda so we could get at least the indication that we want to move forward with this. This would be looking at our agreement with Williamson County. We currently have a license agreement for some of the streets in the district where we can maintain landscaping and our walls, but it's just a few of the major avenues. It's not the whole district. And we're now seeing a need for getting county permission and authority to perhaps do some maintenance, trimming trees, vegetation, blocking the sidewalks and the roads. And the Williams County representative suggested that perhaps we could do it under our existing license agreement, but we can't. It doesn't cover the whole district. And then the doggy bag dispensers is something Catherine's brought up a few times before. Can we put those in the right of way? Where can we put those? So I'm looking for a direction whether I pursue that with Williamson County and Travis County. We don't have a license agreement with Travis County except this one we're talking about, and we have a minor one over there where we have a trail that Herb worked on. So I just need to know if the board wants to pursue this, and if so, we'll contact the counties and get it started.
Well, let me say just a couple of things. I also had a conversation with the folks at the Roads and Bridges because I wanted to know if they would respond to the blocking of streets and sidewalks by trees and bushes. And that what they suggested to me was that they will respond, but only to trees blocking traffic. That anything having to do with bushes and plants and cars, sidewalks, they're not going to get involved in that. Cars blocking the sidewalk would be a law enforcement issue. But for trees and shrubs, I think you and I talked, Bill, about the fact that in that case, we might be able to use a license agreement that would be expanded for the entire district, where we could have our landscape contractor go and do that kind of thing when it's required, with all of the necessary niceties of coordinate with the owner and so on. But I think that's a big project, isn't it, Bill, to get that license agreement?
Well, each of the counties have a process, and we'll probably have more success with Travis County on the process, because Williamson County, their process is a little convoluted. You apply and then they take it up to the county attorney, and then the county attorney kicks it back down. But I would like to say we have a good track record of getting these done quickly, but we don't. So the sooner we start, the sooner we could get something in place.
So
I would like to move forward with
and I'm assuming Travis is the same. That is to say, Williamson County will respond to trim trees that are blocking the streets, but they will not deal with bushes and shrubs and so on. I'm assuming that Travis would react the same way, though I have not talked to them. I agree with Catherine. I'd like to, in fact, do you want a motion, Bill, to authorize you to move forward on this?
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea to authorize me to move forward with the agreements described in item 29.
I so move.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second that. Okay, so do we have any other discussion? Art, do you have any questions? Jana?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Chris?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead and call the vote then. Louis?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes too. Okay. Okay, minutes from the prior regular and special meetings. Okay.
Should be part of the manager's packet, part 1 at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got to go back to the room to look at that. I have it on my computer.
Okay, let me see. I think it's at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be. Should be at the end of part 1, item 7.
Okay.
He's fine too.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Is anybody seeing anything that they disagree with?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, I'll call the vote. Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Luis?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Okay. So all I need is somebody to make a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Let's all say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
It was a good meeting, everybody. Have a good night.
You
Thank
too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Night.
Night.